think our crowd is up there with anybody else in the nation on noise-wise.
When they're yelling, they're going to build you up. They're the ones who are going to help you go and make that next step.
Going against that, as an opponent, I'm sure that's tough too, because you got 102,000 people booing at you, screaming at you. I don't know how they can do it.
We have the best fans in the country. They're always going to support you no matter what.
We appreciate the fans so much because y'all stood up for us when we needed y'all to, and y'all were out there, y'all made it loud.
We know that they feed off of our energy and we feed off their energy.
Knowing you have your crowd behind you, they're supporting you every second, that's just the greatest feeling we have as a team.
It'll be the last time this month that Texas fans can catch the horns as they hit the road to Cal, get a bye, head to Stillwater, and then have the matchup against OU. Less than 7 minutes to go, so without further ado, time for our Game Day Guaranteed game predictions. Ricky Williams, who you got?
Let's see. I'm going with Texas, 56-9. My bold prediction was that UTEP will not score a touchdown. I'm holding that. They might score 3 field goals, but I see this Texas offense really exploding.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Texas win 31-17. I think it's going to be a lot of different things going on. We're letting some of the young guys get in, get their feet wet a little bit, so the guys don't get a chance to run up the score too much. So I'll just go with 31-17.
I like the final score is 44-20. I think UTEP will come out here ready to play. They're in Texas. This is the biggest stadium that they'll play in all season. They're geeked. They're excited. They'll get off to a fast start, but Texas will be Texas. We'll pull it away 44-20.
I'll go 45-10 Longhorns. They have the advantage in the trenches. As we said, they outweigh the offensive line does. They outweigh the UTEP D-line by about 20 pounds a man. By the way, it's also Gerard Hurd's birthday, so maybe they get him involved in the action. We'll see. But again, I'm going with 45-10. As far as the offense is concerned, where do you see them picking up where they left off against UTEP? We talked about Chris Warren a little bit. We obviously have talked at length with Shane Buechele. Haven't talked too much about the receivers. Didn't see a ton of Colin Johnson last week. What do you expect out of the skill position guys today?
Yeah, I think Colin Johnson will step up. We know how talented he is. Pre-game jitters against Notre Dame. First game, let's shake the rust off. Now against players he's superiorly dominant against. Go out here, make some big plays. Hurd, it's his birthday. He got to score a touchdown. I think the receivers will pick up where they left off.
Yeah, I think because of the Hurd's birthday, I think he'll get a couple of little bubble screens and get to showcase his talent a little bit at the wide receiver spot. And I know him and Coach Strong has a really good, strong relationship and things like that. So hopefully him and Buechele will get some things going in the slot. Down the field, some post routes. I would like to see if they see some two safeties and things like that. See if he can take advantage of the two safety blitz and things like that.
Yeah, what we saw last week was in this system where the premise is really to take what the defense gives you. And we saw Shane Buechele did a great job last week of spreading the ball around. Again, 4 different players scored touchdowns. So as far as the skill positions, I see the guys really licking their chops. Vince mentioned a stat game, but it's one of those games where everybody eats.
You know, this question gets asked a lot. When you play a team like a UTEP, is it up to the players if you're Texas? Is it up to them to motivate themselves and get them to the right level, or the coaches, or a little bit of both?
You know, I'm more of, it's college football. You only have so many cracks at it. If you need a coach or you need your teammates to get you up, and I don't care who you're playing, there's something wrong. I think what's different about this team is they seem to really love each other. They love to play football. They love the system that they're in. So it becomes less about the opponent, and it becomes about, we know what our job is in this system. We know what we do on this play. Let's do our job the best we can, and good things will happen.
Yeah, having fun. That's the biggest thing. Again, going piggybacking out what Rick said, just go out there and have a good time. You shouldn't need no motivation to play a UTEP team. You should be already excited. You can look at this atmosphere out here. Everybody's out here in burnt orange ready to play. So go out there and just play football. Again, that's what my guy said earlier. That's why you come to Texas, to have a good time.
Like they said, this is a stat game. If you want to win the Butt Kiss, the best linebacker award, if you want to win the Doak Walker, if you want to win the Maxwell, if you want to win any of those national awards, this is where you put your name in the Heisman race. This is where you make yourself a front runner for those national awards. This is the type of game where you really get that nation, the whole nation, nation talking about you and doing stuff out here tonight.
The last time Texas played UTEP, 2009, Manny. What do you remember about that game?
I remember we came out a little slow, but I do remember we ended up winning 49 or so to 7. So Colt, he went out, he had a great game. Our receivers at the time, Jordan Shipley, they had big games. Myself, I was a pup at the time. I was just trying to scrap a couple tackles here. I was trying to scrap a couple tackles here and there and build some confidence, but this is a stat game.
And I want to make one thing clear here. Like, this UTEP team is a good football team. I mean, they're in a little bit of trouble now right now. They lost their quarterback last week, but quarterback comes back. They have a chance to win 8 games, get to a bowl game. I think a lot of what we're talking about is really based on how well Texas played last week against a very tough Notre Dame team. And if they come out and play with that same kind of energy, the fans aren't going to bring the same kind of energy. But if the players can play with that same kind of energy, they are supposed to win this game. They dominate.
Well, they dominated in Manny's game against UTEP 64-7. Overall, they've outscored the Miners 156-26 as Texas holds an all-time 4-0 record against UTEP. Coming up, Lo Galindo, Ahmad Brooks, and Keith Moreland on the call. We'll see you at halftime, everyone.
Football back to the top 25. Welcome to the first Saturday of college football in Austin as the Longhorns host the UTEP Miners. On Sunday, 102,000 Texas fans were essentially touching pinkies when they flashed the hook'em. Largest crowd in DKR history watched the first OT game in DKR history. In the second overtime, the 18-wheeler made a cut like a Miata. Tyrone Swoops eluded an unblocked defender in the backfield, found the end zone, and the party was on. Texas with the 50-47 win over Notre Dame. First win against the Irish in Austin, and another chance to serve for Charlie Strong. It was the third win against the top 15 since the start of last season for this Texas program. And for Charlie Strong, they now enter a game as a ranked team for the first time since Charlie Strong took over this job a couple of seasons ago. They are chomping at the bit. And the stampede is on. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Austin. I'm Lo Galindo, hanging out with a couple of former DBs from Texas, Ahmad Brooks and Keith Moreland. Hey, man, we're having a ball. We're talking Texas football up against these UTEP Miners. Let's start off with the quarterback. So Charlie Strong told us a day ago when he said it would be Buechele over Swoops. That was a decision that could have torn this team apart. But it appears, Keith, they wouldn't have won that game against Notre Dame without both quarterbacks.
Well, there's no question about that. You start with the freshman. The first freshman to start in 60 years here at the University of Texas. First true freshman. He did a nice job. Had great poise, great command of the offense. But I tell you what, Ahmad, what impressed me was his ability to get the ball down the field. And, boy, he did a great job with great touch on the long ball.
Yeah, the only thing we didn't see was what he could do in short yardage situations. And the reason why we didn't is because you've got one of the best specialists in the country in Tyrone Swoops in third and short and goal line situations. This kid's a bully with the football in his hands. But I saw some wiggle last week that also made me think that this young man has has risen to the point now where he has found his perfect role. I'm excited about seeing both of these quarterbacks out here today.
Well, let's hear from the head coach, Charlie Strong. He's standing by with the third member of our crew, Dawn Davenport.
Yeah, thank you guys. Coach Strong, you get a big win, and your message to your team this week, don't believe the hype. Stay focused. As you watched your team all day long, how do you think they've done in hearing that message?
Well, you know, they heard so much last week, and the message was all about just staying focused, and they have a job to do, and just make sure you do your job, and let's execute this evening.
We talked so much about your offense, but UTEP comes in with a pretty good run game. They put up 300 yards rushing last week. What do you want to see out of your defense? What do they have to do to stop that run game?
Well, we have to play physical. We have to play physical at the point of attack and control the line of scrimmage.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys.
And that physicality is a big factor for this Texas team. They had the short week of preparation because they played on Sunday. Really, Charlie Strong has said maybe the biggest issue is the health. On the O-line alone, Texas is expecting to be without Connor Williams, Kent Perkins, and Tristan Nicholson. You throw in Caleb Blewett to that mix at tight end as well, who's going to protect and pave the way for those Texas running backs. Another physical opponent here with UTEP because of twins, Aaron and Alvin. Let's start in the backfield with Aaron Jones.
Well, when you look at Aaron Jones, he's an outstanding back. There's no question about it. He came to campus 175 pounds, and could really run. Had great speed. Well, he's turned into a slasher, Ahmad. He is a guy that's got a great stiff arm. This guy's tough to bring down. 249 yards last week.
Keith, and on the opposite side, his twin brother is just ferocious. I mean, this young man, the way he anticipates the action and the desire that he shows to get there and the determination. You'll find him out there today. He's the kind of guy that'll have 20 tackles in a ball game. You look up at the stat sheet, and all of a sudden, he's on the stat sheet with 20. He's posted 20 tackles. Phenomenal player, reminds me a lot of London Fletcher, a little unsized, but has a great knack for finding the football.
249 yards, as Keith mentioned, the most for any player in the ball subdivision a week ago for Aaron Jones. And this is the man that starts off that physical mentality. The head coach, Sean Kugler, won his first game in season number 4 with that win against New Mexico State, 38-22. He says they want to be essentially the Stanford of Conference USA in the way they play with the physical brand of football. And again, with some of those injuries up front for Texas, we will see what UTEP is able to do in terms of getting to the quarterback and slowing down a vaunted Texas rush offense. Texas 4-0 all-time against the UTEP Miners. It is a series that dates back to 1930. We probably will remember the most recent 2 matchups against UTEP because it featured one Colt McCoy at quarterback for the Texas Longhorns. And we're going to talk a lot about Colt and his impact on this team later in the broadcast. A very significant letter that he penned that was read to this Texas team before they opened up the season against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Of course, no Texas broadcast is complete without Bevo. Bevo 15, 1-0 to start his reign at the University of Texas. President Greg Fenves with a little good luck there to Charlie Strong. And Bevo 15 is ready for some football. I think a lot like you, Ahmad.
Yeah, I am. I almost tackled you during our open.
You always try to do that to me.
And you understand why, my man. It's exciting. I'm happy to be back here in Austin watching the Horns see what they can do and build upon what was a phenomenal win on Sunday.
Horns won the toss, elected to defer, take the ball in the second half, see if the defense can get it going here early.
Back deep, Terry Janelle, one of the more electric returners that we saw in week 1 of college football, did most of his damage on punt returns. He's back deep to return for UTEP. And we are underway from Austin, Texas. Janelle just past the 20. And it is Deshaun Elliott opening up with a special teams tackle for this Texas team. Now we've had a change at quarterback for this UTEP team. Zach Greenlee, the Fresno State transfer, was the starter in the opener, suffered a slightly torn MCL, slightly separated shoulder, and broke a finger, played through all of that, but not able to go in this game. So the more athletic and electric Kavika Johnson will make his first career start for the UTEP Miners. See the career yards, not too much experience, about even, 218 and 219. with a run-pass ratio, and this will be his first career start. Tough to do so against this Texas defense. No surprises. UTEP starts off with a carry to Aaron Jones.
Paul Boyette does a nice job right off the bat. The guys up front, Ahmad, that's what we've talked about all week. When you look at Ford, Nelson, Boyette, those guys got to do a good job against a team that's going to take the clock down, wants to run the football, probably not going to throw it until it's third and long.
Yeah, they want to win time of possession, does UTEP. Coach Kugler stresses they want to try to possess the ball for around 35 minutes a game. Back-to-back carries to Jones, and Anthony Wheeler is there to make the tackle.
Yeah, and those are my two impact players. You just saw it there. Malik Jefferson, Anthony Wheeler in on the tackle. These guys complement each other like peanut butter and jelly. I'm serious. And when they are playing well, you can see it. But on the opposite side today, they will have their hands full with the traditional fullback in Darren Lufasa. And I can tell you right now, he's downhill. I like the Lion King reference there. There we go. But he's downhill and a player that they'll have to watch today as he'll be trying to clear the way for this outstanding running back, Aaron Jones.
3rd and 5. Money down for the Texas defense. And the pass broken up by Sherrod Evans.
Oh, man, that was just brilliant coverage. Managed to get his hands on the wide receiver as he was trying to run an in route. And what a phenomenal story to see this young man out on the football field. It was 3 years up until Sunday that he'd even stepped on the turf. And he earned this starting job, replaced the starter from a season ago, Holton Hill, and has been a staple. And I humbly believe that this is a young man that now that has his confidence, who knows what will happen and if he'll get a look at the next level.
P.D. Warwick back to return the punt. He has earned the trust of Charlie Strong. And they go short, and the up man is Armonte Foreman. And Texas will start off with great field position, as apparently Alan Luna was trying to keep that football away from Ja'Cory Warwick.
It was a line drive type punt, and a nice job by Texas to have two guys back, having that front guy, because if that ball hits the turf, he's got a chance to roll 15 or 20 yards. Instead, great starting field position.
And Shane Buechele, now the first true freshman in Texas history to start the first 2 games of a season. You probably booed the Buechele family before, especially living in the state of Texas, watching his pop, Steve, play for the Texas Rangers. And there you have it. Bobby Lane got the start in the opener in 1944. He was hurt, did not go in game number 2 in that 44 season. So Shane Buechele simply steps on the field and makes history. Big hole to the left side as Chris Warren hits the start and is just shy of the first down.
Warren gets the start. We've got to talk about the offensive line, too, as we will, as they go quickly here.
Buechele with the keeper. And that will move the chains.
Yeah, that's the next step for these package plays and for these zone read and read option plays, is Buechele has to show his athleticism and put the pressure on the defense.
They are going quick. You mentioned the O-line, Elijah Rodriguez starting at left tackle. Buechele looking for money. He's got Armonte Foreman, the first completion of the day.
Nice little stop route on the outside, sold it deep, came back to it. Good pitch and catch, and here they go again. This is past NASCAR. This is a full drag race.
Foreman not getting the start, so Warren taking advantage of the opportunity, and they are riding him on this opening drive. Another first down inside the red zone. Buechele met in the backfield by Dante LaViolette.
That's a nice job defensively for UTEP. They did a nice job that time. Had 2 guys on the outside. First time we've seen 2nd and long.
UTEP really forcing numbers inside of the box. One-on-one matchups outside.
Patient running from Warren. Could not find the hole to the right side of that Texas offensive line. Also have a new starter at right guard, as Kent Perkins was not able to make the start. In his place, Alex Anderson, number 63. Here's a 3rd and 7 for Texas. Quick pass to Warwick. He's got the first down, and the cutback is signaled as a touchdown. Warwick did cough up the football, but apparently that was after breaking the threshold of the end zone, and Texas is on the board.
Yeah, just quick strike with the quick passing game. And that ball looked like it might have, when you watch the angle here, it might have busted loose before it even crossed this line. Very close here. See what the officials, more than likely, any play involving a touchdown, this play will be reviewed more than likely.
That ball's coming out. So Warwick was looking at his first career touchdown. We've come to a halt, and this is why.
Of a touchdown is under further review.
It's a really nice job, though, outside. You're setting up, you're in 3rd and long down at the goal line. You know, wide receivers have got to block. And, boy, it was a really nice job of setting up the box and then Warwick finding a way to cut. But, boy, that view we got an opportunity to see there looked like the football was out before he crossed the plane.
And just watch, just an excellent effort there. Not giving up there. It appeared to be Beverly who came up with the big play.
Right hand right directly on the football.
Yeah, so LaViolette has made back-to-back outstanding plays, and that one, I don't know, what do you think, Keith?
And for me, the view I got to see from the side, the football's coming out. I think this is going to be a touchback, and UTEP's going to take over at their own 20. That would be what I think the call is going to be.
And Texas did such a good job in the opener taking care of the football. Didn't put any on the ground with that lone interception from Shane Bouchel.
Well, that's just a great individual effort right there, Ahmad, to get that football knocked out.
Yeah, the senior, Corey Ward, we got an opportunity to talk to him yesterday. Very mature young man. These are plays when you're a senior. You have to prevent yourself from putting your offense and your team in these types of situations. And I know he was fighting for those extra yards, but that often happens when you're trying to fight, bite, and scratch to get into the end zone.
After further review, the ball carrier fumbled the ball short of the goal line where it went out of bounds in the end zone. The result of the play is a touchback, 1st and 10, UTEP.
So what a play from UTEP as Dante LaViolette not only saves a touchdown, gets the ball back for the Miners as Warwick coughs it up just before getting into the end zone. KD back on the sidelines here at DKR. As Kevin Durant was honored as one of the distinguished young alums by the Texas Exes a night ago. He's on hand here to watch his Texas Longhorns as they opened up their first offensive possession. Great field position. And looked like they were about to go on the board first until Dante LaViolette forced the fumble for UTEP out of the end zone. Touchback, so the Miners now taking over on their own 20-yard line. Johnson back to pass. Terry Janelle, the intended receiver. Vaccaro there on the defense, and Kevin Vaccaro was out there. He got the start for this Texas defense because Dylan Haynes, a no-go in this game because of injuries.
Go ahead, Ahmad. I'm just going to say that defensively, this is a much different game than they played last week. You're going to be in base defense, Ahmad, pretty much the entire game. So you're going to see, 3 down, 4 linebackers, or 4 down, 3 linebackers, and 4 defensive backs. You're going to see very little nickel in the ball game.
Offense will remind some Texas fans of the Brian Harsin offense. It's got Boise roots. Trying to get athletes on the perimeter. And on the sweep,
Malik Jefferson, Anthony Wheeler all over that play, just really dissecting it. And anytime you see that motion coming across, if you're on the opposite side, you've got to communicate that along the line to the rest of your team. And it looked like there Texas had good communication, but did a good job of executing with gap integrity. And that was something that when talking to Vance Bedford, he said, one thing that we didn't do well last week was we didn't practice good gap integrity, and we've got to do a better job of that today to be able to stop the run.
Now keep in mind, Coach Kugler told us a few days ago, no way UTEP can have consecutive 3-and-outs and compete in this game. He said it would be a recipe for disaster. Johnson flush from the pocket. Flags all over the place. As Jefferson swats that one down for the incompletion, but we'll have to wait on these flags.
Although the first one was a tackle in the backfield, so this is going to be holding. I think both of them are going to go against UTEP for holding.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding. Offense, number 74. The penalty is declined. Holding. Offense, number 70, is also declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
Get them all out at once. There's one way to do it.
Well, that's one of the things that the head coach just drives you crazy. You got penalties, but in 3rd and long, Texas was coming after them. And at that point, protect your quarterback. You'd rather have a holding penalty than to see your quarterback going down and maybe have a turnover. So, but another 3 and out, Lowell, as you were talking about.
That's what Coach Kugler said would spell disaster for this team. Warwick waving for the fair catch and a good Texas bounce. And a flag on the play.
Texas is going to start out, if this flag doesn't go against them, with outstanding starting field position again. Been a lot of laundry on the field here in this first quarter already.
Back-to-back snaps. What Kugler rocking the Texas Western hat, representing the roots of UTEP. So not quite 102,000 on hand. The fans that are here trying to bring the energy.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 2. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down.
So holding on Chris Boyd. Texas still will start with nice field position. It'll be at the 40. And as you mentioned, Keith, very close. Without that penalty, this could have been in UTEP territory once again.
Also looks like Brandon Hodges coming out with this unit to get some action there at the right tackle position.
First true freshman to start the first 2 games of the season at quarterback. Ramonte Foreman slips out of a tackle to keep the play alive. Foreman was the man that got Texas on the board first against Notre Dame. An amazing touch pass from Shane Buechele. And there's the guy that Coach Charlie Strong calls clutch, Jake Oliver. But hold that thought. We've got a flag.
Helmet comes off of Alex Johnson and Alex Anderson, and he'll have to come out for a play. This offensive line depth is going to show up tonight. There's no question. They have 3 guys that are down.
Tristan Nicholson, who's been backing up at right tackle.
Personal foul, hands to the face, defense, number 63. 15-yard penalty, 1st down, and number 63 for Texas may remain in the game.
So the hands to the face, that caused the helmet of Alex Anderson to pop off. Since there was a penalty on the play, Anderson would be allowed to stay in the game. Typically, the helmet comes off. Got to leave for 1 play. Buechele comfortable in the pocket. And Gerard Hurd has his first touchdown catch as a Texas receiver. Juice is loose for Texas.
Beautiful execution, and if you're just now turning on the tape, you wouldn't have known that this guy was a quarterback several weeks ago. Just a wheel route on the outside to get a one-on-one matchup that they found favorable. And you see it here. This is a brilliant catch. He catches it at the highest point, secures the catch, gets his feet in bounds. Very athletic play for Gerard Hurd. I mean, that was a fine catch, and if he continues to do that, who knows? This young man may have found a permanent home.
That's not a quarterback. That's a receiver.
That was brilliant. That was
some
nice.
ball skills right there from Gerard Hurd. Extra point is true, and Texas has a 7-0 lead.
Texas football on Longhorn Network is brought to you by Pizza Hut. Enjoy any carry-out pizza for $10. Get details at pizzahut.com. And Coors Light, official sponsor of the Texas Longhorns.
Well, those Texas fans didn't have to wait long in the second drive to see Texas get on the board. They were promised that up-tempo offense under Sterling Gilbert, and they got that, Ahmad. I mean, hyper speed on that touchdown drive.
37 seconds to be exact. That was brilliant, and they moved the ball up and down the field the way you were supposed to.
Gerard Hurd all smiles on the sideline. Replay 60 yards, and the dime from Bouchel, hauled in by Gerard Hurd for the opening touchdown. Little win, knocking down the ball. Mitchell Becker, the kickoff specialist, will reset. This one away to Janelle. And wait for it, another flag. Vaccaro had the pressure to chase Terry Janelle out of bounds. We got to sort this one out.
During the return, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 33. Happiness into the goal. First down.
Well, that's not going to make the former O-line coach, Sean Kugler, very happy. The Texas O-line, different story here, Keith.
Well, you got a bunch of different folks. The Lance right here does a nice job. And then watch what Chris Warren does to go with it. Does a nice job on the end, on the outside. Ahmad, when you're running a wheel route, you've got to give your quarterback time because it takes a while for that route to develop. It's an out and up and out the field, trying to get down the field. Boy, that's a really nice job by a group of guys up front that haven't played a lot together.
UTEP just 4 total yards through 2 drives, both of those 3 and outs. Aaron Jones was slow going here at the beginning of this game. Texas defensively has something to prove here with the ground game. Said the stat many times, but over the last 5 games of last season, Texas surrendered 275 rushing yards per game. The Texas coaching staff came into this season trying to correct. Johnson with the draw, but the pressure is there. Breck Hager taking Kavika Johnson down.
Just a speed rush from the outside from Hager. He sneaks up, he sees the offensive formation. He's got nobody on his side in the base defense. You can watch him creep right up to the line of scrimmage, and just a speed rush around the corner gets to the quarterback.
And how about that push up front from Chris Nelson as well?
That's what I love about him, guys, the energy. He's high-stepping off the field, coming off. Just the kind of player that you want to play with, and that was a fine job there of chasing down the quarterback.
The son of Britt Hager, the all-time leading tackler here at the University of Texas. 3rd and 12. Nowhere to go as P.J. Locke is there from the nickelback spot to get the tackle. And that will be 3 and outs on the opening 3 drives forced by Charlie Strong and this Texas defense.
Much better job there on the outside edge from Devontae Davis of forcing that ball back into Locke, which allowed him to be able to run that angle and chase the football down. And as you mentioned, this defense has come out extremely hot. You look at it, total seven total yards for this UTEP offense. Right now, this defense is really starting to find a rhythm and a groove when it comes to defending the Miners.
Alan Luna, busy man, the pressure coming. It looked like it was blocked. there is a flag. Why wouldn't there be?
Luna just gets this ball off. I'm not sure that didn't get a piece of it.
Well, he had the future bearing down on him. That was Brandon Jones. Standout safety recruit from Nacogdoches, Texas.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 2. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, timeout.
A couple of those calls now on Chris Boyd. The Texas defense doing some work. Special teams helping the cause as well. Once again, good field position for Charlie Strong of Texas. Landing Brandon Jones was the highlight of an epic national signing day for Charlie Strong and this Texas team, and Jones almost made his first highlight play in the burnt orange. Tough to tell if he gets a piece of this.
Yeah, this would have been legendary to start your career, and obviously had an opportunity here. If I were coaching him up, one thing that I would say is instead of raising that arm, shoot that arm straight out, and you want to put it to where the punter is punting the ball and not where he's currently at.
Plenty of room to rumble for Chris Warren III, his first touch of drive number 3, moving the chains. 14 yards on the carry for Warren.
This offensive line controlling the line of scrimmage right now.
Get out of my way, says Chris Warren. UTEP defense tackling as a gang there. This is a UTEP defense in transition. Year number 1 under Tom Mason, transitioning from the 4-3 to the 3-4. Bouchel's got a one-on-one, letting it fly to Armanzi Foreman. And that's the first incompletion of the game for Shane Bouchel.
Safe location. Deep and outside. If you're going to miss there, that's where you want to miss.
That's what Vance Bedford has said on this Texas offense, that as a defense, it essentially comes down to, with the way they run the football, the belief that my receiver is better than your DB. Let's see what happens with a one-on-one. Physical run from Chris Warren, Deontay Foreman. No go to this point. Nicked up this week after a very physical performance against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Texas will bring out the punt team.
This is a tricky area right here. Anytime you're thinking about a fake punt, most of the time it's executed in between the 40. So if you're Texas right here, we saw the types of risks that Charlie took a week ago. Maybe here you go with a fake punt.
Janelle, 96 punt return yards in the opening win against New Mexico State, the second most in week 1 in the bowl subdivision. Oh, and heads-up play right in front of the end zone, and that is Chris Boyd atoning for a couple of special team penalties. Dixon places it in the perfect spot, and Chris Boyd is there to down that ball inside the 1-yard line.
Yeah, this unit has just been sensational. You go back and you look at what they did a week ago. Chris Boyd, perfect technique here. As a gunner, you're taught to get to the goal line, turn your back, just in case the returner is doing what he's doing here. He's trying to get you to go to a different position where the ball's not going. Chris Boyd doing the right thing there by getting to the goal line, turning around, and being able to make a play.
Greg Hager trying to get DKR going. A little over-aggressive.
Offside with contact. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Boy, that changes the complexion of everything. Obviously, now you can get into a little more of your offense. They were going to run quarterback sneak, come on. There was no question. They're going to have to get some kind of breathing room. Now they can get back into their base offense, and it's 1st and 5 to go with it.
Paul Boyette jumping off sides. And a very good opening performance against Notre Dame, which included a tackle for loss. He was hungry, wanted to get another one there.
Unbalanced to the wide side of the field.
UTEP back to the bread and butter.
And all 4 receivers that time, guys, to the wide side of the field. Your one tailback to the other side. Texas did not overload to that side. That's something to look later on in the ball game. See if they come back to that formation.
Tough sledding for Aaron Jones. 4 carries, 9 yards. Start this one off for UTEP. Vance Bedford and his defense looking at a 2nd and 3. Back to Jones. A lot of burnt orange there. They're just congregating at the football. The early goings of this game.
Yeah, one of the strengths of this UTEP team is their offensive line, but right now, the Texas defensive line is winning at the line of scrimmage and really preventing them from popping one outside and getting to the second level and being able to see what this kid Aaron Jones is all about, Keith.
They're getting lower than the offensive line. They're getting penetration down underneath. The offensive line can't get a push.
Quick passing game here when you've got 3rd and short situations.
Jones was nailed, but Johnson keeps. And UTEP moves the chains for the first time here in Austin.
I mean to tell you, Aaron Jones paid a price for that play fake right there. Absolutely crushed. It's one of the best blows we've seen all season.
Yep.
Yes, it's early in the season, but watch this blow, folks. This is that's factor. That's
the epitome of Brett
factor.
The one thing you would have liked to have seen is Aaron with the ball, because he also had contain on that play. He's got to be able to slow that motor down, and that's what you love about Mr. Hager. He's going to hit anything moving, but if he stays at home there, they don't pop a big one for the first down, pardon me.
Texas playing a bigger defense than typical. Usually have 5 DBs on the field. There's Hager. And this time, that will go down for a tackle.
This time doing a much better job of making sure he held true to his responsibility and then comes down on the football. And you can still be very effective if you slow play it like that, Keith.
Well, it's a good read. You're right. He was under control. Tell you what, though, Hager is not afraid of contact.
Oh, I love watching him play.
He is not afraid of contact.
That's a good game on back-to-back plays for Kavika Johnson. 3 carries, 17 yards. 2nd and manageable now for this UTEP offense. Going empty. This is where Bedford typically brings everybody. He will not. Ball is overthrown as Johnson was looking for Cole Freitag. Freitag was running free.
You can tell Johnson's just not comfortable. When he gets into the pocket, he had plenty of time there. He's just not comfortable. He doesn't step into his throw. He's wanting to complete it instead of delivering the football. Stepping in, deliver the football. Got to be free and easy to complete passes.
Tough place to make your first career start here in Austin, Texas. 3rd and 6. Texas drops. Johnson hit from behind. And welcome to the big time, the true freshman, Malcolm Roach, with his first career sack.
And if I were him, I'd go high-five all the members of the secondary, because Kavika had nowhere to throw this football, and you see him there. That's why he's just patting that football down, which allowed Roach the opportunity to get to the quarterback. Now, that was a great job of containing the freshman there, getting involved in the action, but the secondary doing exactly what they were supposed to in the back end, which led to the sack.
Texas fans are going to love watching Malcolm Roach play. Vance Bedford says, like Brecken Hager, it's all-out energy, and there is a pump block by Brandon Jones. Nearly got it the last time, and there is your moment, Ahmad Brooks, Brandon Jones, and we have back-to-back huge plays from this vaunted Texas recruiting class.
That's how you win playing time, Keith. When a coach gives you the responsibility of playing on special teams, they want to see how hard you're going to go. They're going to see how much effort you're going to give. Watch it here. He flights off the block. This time here, I thought he did a much better job with his hand, putting it where the punt is going to be going. and just an excellent job there from the young man to make a big-time play and to give this offense incredible field position.
And the fans are calling for a quarterback change. Here comes the 18-wheeler, Tyrone Swoops, now into the game. He knows his role. He told us it's quite simple. Go in and get the first down or the touchdown. Hurd in motion. Cutting it upfield, spin move. But Devin Cockrell is there to make the tackle.
Porter into the game at running back. At this point, I doubt that we see Foreman in the game as a running back tonight. I think it'll be split between Porter and Warren. Porter in the game now.
That should go down as the first completion of the season for Tyrone Swoops, since it was a forward flip. The key. And Eddie, UTEP defense mowing up a little bit here in the red zone.
Well, there's only one way to confront this challenge, and that's to hit him. I mean, because if you get to backpedaling, he'll drag you into the end zone. And I think you've got to be aggressive. You've got to try to take the blow to him. At 250 pounds, you don't want him to get going downhill, because then you've got a problem.
Porter hit in the backfield. And the first carry of Kyle Porter's career as a tackle for losses. Alvin Jones is there. Big red zone stop for Tom Mason in this UTEP defense.
Yeah, one of the wrinkles that I'd like to see with this 18-wheeler package, you remember when Tim Tebow used to do the jump pass?
Yeah.
I just think that right now you get all those defenders to suck in because they know the run's coming and pop one of those fullbacks out, a tight end. And I'm pretty sure that Sterling Gilbert has that wrinkle in there. And when you get stopped like this, that's the next time when you start to think about the creativity that can come along with that play call.
Trent Domain, 2 for 2 on field goals to start off his Texas career. Texas gets the blocked punt from Brandon Jones. Brought in Swoops inside the 10-yard line, but the UTEP defense is able to hold. Still, the block leads to points as the Horns get a field goal, courtesy of that swap from Brandon Jones.
So before kickoff on Sunday, find a quiet place on the sideline. Take a knee. Look around the stadium. Breathe in the air and appreciate the atmosphere. Take a moment to collect your thoughts. Say a little prayer. And remember how blessed you are to be playing the greatest game on earth at the greatest school on earth. Then get on your feet, strap up your helmet, and go show those boys how we play ball in Texas. Hook 'em.
That's the end of the letter penned by Colt McCoy that was read by Charlie Strong before Texas went out to defeat Notre Dame on Sunday. For more, let's bring in Don Davenport down on the field.
Yeah, guys, talking about that Colt McCoy letter, you know, he talked about the nerves and the pressure. He also mentioned working out with some of the current players and how he felt they turned the corner. Well, one of those he worked out with was freshman quarterback Shane Buechele. They spent some time together in July. Buechele posted this pic on Instagram with the caption, "Learning from a legend." Now, senior Paul Boya talked to us about that letter, how impactful it was for this team, noting that Shane's poise last week was phenomenal. He really felt Colt's letter was a part of that poise and the calmness they were able to see from some of their youngsters.
And that's what also helped that letter really hit home, the fact that they have that relationship with Colt McCoy, a guy who did bond with him over this summer. And Paul Boyd told us that that was really the message that set the tone for that win against Notre Dame. Tackle for loss. Bryce Cottrell in on the play.
Sometimes the defensive front gets challenged, and I'm sure that Coach Strong can challenge these guys, and Coach Bedford challenged them and say, hey, look, you're going to face a running team. They're going to run it the first 2 downs of every series, and they've got a guy that rushed for 250 yards. They've won the line of scrimmage here in this first quarter, no doubt about it.
Smokey fires, sounding the end to this first quarter. It is a 10-0 lead for Texas, but points still left on the field from this Texas team. The fumble going into the end zone from Ja'Cory Warwick, a red zone trip that ended up in a field goal instead of a touchdown. But Texas, they'll take the start 10-0 at the end of one against the UTEP Miners. First Saturday of college football here in Austin, Texas. Welcome back to Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. Vivo 15, Laura Galindo, Ahmad Brooks, Keith Moreland, and Don Davenport with you on the call. As Texas has opened up a 10-0 lead after the first quarter, but Ahmad, still some things that they would like to clean up. Could be an even bigger deficit for UTEP at this point in time. Only 21 total yards in the first quarter as Hager puts the vicious hit on Kavika Johnson. Pass incomplete, and the flag parade continues.
It's going to be a personal foul, roughing the quarterback. It's one of those situations you're in motion, trying to get there, see the football come out. You've got to try to avoid the contact.
And it looked like he hesitated.
They pick it up.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 94. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, they called it on Gerald Wilbon, but I'm pretty sure that one's on Breck Hager.
Yeah, you see that little stutter step there is what prevented him from being able to get there on time.
It was Wilbon, true freshman with the hands to the face. You'll see it right here.
Right here, comes in, yep. Once again, Hager providing pressure. And he's such an interesting defender because he's so versatile, plays outside linebacker, defensive end, and will be in many of those roles today.
Big gap to the left side of the line for Aaron Jones.
That's the first time they've got any split up front. A really nice job blocking down, and you get Jones into the secondary. He's a real good slashing runner. See the block down, all the momentum going one direction, good cut back. Slashes for the first down.
And they love that left side of the offensive line. Number 76, the left guard, Will Hernandez, is a guy that Coach Kugler told us could be an NFL draft pick one day. Another aggressive run from Aaron Jones. He does hit the hole hard as Bryce Cottrell is there to make the tackle for Texas.
It's one of those games where you know a team's going to try to lull you to sleep, too. They're going to pound it in there. As a corner right here, Ahmad, and as an next corner, our safety, you can't start sneaking up to stop the run. You got to pay attention to your responsibilities because they'll slip somebody behind you.
Stay home.
Johnson has got his tight end, Hayden Plinke. And Plinke will move the chains for the UTEP Miners.
Got the play action there. It's a great job of slipping the tight end. You see him there, started out in the backfield and just slid right into the flat. And when you have man-to-man and they go across the field, extremely difficult to chase a guy down. That time there, Johnson finding the tight end for the first down.
A lot of shifting. Again, unbalanced line to the left, to the wide side of the field.
And back to Jones. It's Malcolm Roach makes his second tackle of the game. Roach, the true freshman, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Texas has done a great job in the past two classes recruiting out of the state of Louisiana. Malcolm Roach, you've heard Coach Strong say multiple times, he doesn't look at the stars. Roach was a 3-star guy, and here he is logging major minutes in his second game on campus. Jones slips by Hager, is not going to break that tackle as Malik Jefferson puts a stop to that play.
Just trying to find creative ways to get Aaron Jones the football. Malik Jefferson there, though. Great job of tracking the football. I talked about him earlier being an impact player. One of the more talented defenders in all of college football right now. He's just a hungry, hungry guy, competing for tackles and doing a fine job there of open field tackling and dragging down Jones as another big third down here. These are not the types of situations, 3rd and long, that the Miners want to be in.
UTEP 1 for 5 on 3rd down. And Johnson calls the timeout. Was it granted before the snap? So Coach Kugler has got a drive going. If his guys can convert this 3rd down, could have a little drama here in the state capitol. UTEP not overly effective with the offense, but guys, they are being methodical. That time of possession, that's the name of the game for this UTEP team. And we're still in the ball game right now, 10-0.
Well, I think when you look at it, the game's gone the way they'd like to go, but they've got to come away with points, I think, here soon to stay in the ball game.
3rd and 9. Johnson has an open receiver, and Tyler Batson coughs it up. Texas football.
Devontae Davis with excellent effort here to rake this football out. Watch the replay here, just intentional by number 9. Gets that hand in there, rakes that football out, and that prevented an explosive play that UTEP would have had, but the hustle, the effort. He's not even supposed to be covering on that side of the field. What a wonderful job of getting to the football and putting it down on the ground, and his teammates collecting that one up for a turnover for Texas.
And a horrible turn for UTEP there.
How about the number of burnt orange jerseys around the football?
Indeed.
3rd and long. Johnson had Batson. UTEP finally had something going their way, and just as quickly as that completion happens, Devontae Davis with the strip. Bouchel looking to Gerard Hurd. He's got the short completion.
A little bit different look from the Miners defensively. They go to a 3-down front. They take one of the linebackers out of the game, and they go to their first nickel package of the game.
Bouchel pressured, and he goes down.
First sack that the Longhorns have given up this season. None against Notre Dame last week.
They did a good job there just holding on to the football, though. That could have given the ball right back to the Miners.
More pressure from that left side. Bouchel sacked on back-to-back plays. That's Nick Usher, the captain of this UTEP defense.
Back-to-back plays also from that left side of the offensive line, where their best offensive lineman, Connor Williams, is out, and Elijah Rodriguez is now in. That time there, he sets his feet and just lets the defender get right into him. Great effort there by Usher to get to the quarterback. Great job of using his hands, getting around the offensive tackle. But I can tell you right now, Texas is missing their freshman All-American, Connor Williams.
3 major injuries, not in terms of how long they will be out, but in terms of missing them for just one game on that offensive line, with Williams out for this game, as well as Kent Perkins starting right guard, and your backup right tackle, Tristan Nicholson.
This has not been a clean game.
On many levels, Keith.
You're right. It just hasn't been clean. The tempo, Texas hasn't been able to set that tempo that they set last week to go fast. First downs create that tempo.
Offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And as the game continues here, the momentum seems to be going into the style that the Miners want to play.
And what was the major concern from Charlie about penalties? And you've got to clean that up. Last week, I could tell the emotion, the excitement that was in this building, but you know, a lot of penalties here early on for Texas in the first half. That's something also they've got to clean up.
This is the man that can flip the field quickly, Michael Dixon. Janelle field that punt, a couple yards shy of the 40-yard line. Let's talk a little bit more about that O-line, though. Don, what can you tell us?
Yeah, they're also missing their freshman center, Zach Shackelford. He headed into the locker room. He's been dealing with some ankle issues. I saw in the first quarter, he took off his shoe, retaped the right ankle. Next possession, he came over, retaped the left ankle. So Texas is saying it's an ankle issue. He is being evaluated right now, but he's still in that locker room. So we saw a bad snap on that last possession. You have a new center in there. Jake McMillan is stepping in.
Former defensive lineman for this Texas team, Jake McMillan. Last time with the ball, UTEP driving in Texas territory. Devontae Davis forced the fumble. The Texas offense followed with a 3-and-out. Do not let Aaron Jones get going.
That was one of the best creases he's had to run in all day. That time there, the Miners doing a good job of shielding the Texas defensive linemen and opening up enough space for this young man to do work.
And Aaron Jones, not just a good running back on the CUSA level. You're talking about a guy that's on the watch list for the Maxwell National Player of the Year award.
This guy's going to
Walker.
He's going to play on Sundays.
Johnson the key. Puna Ford there for the tackle.
Not a bad decision there from Johnson to keep that football and kind of use Jones as a lead blocker and just kind of push the ball. And now you've got a third and manageable situation. These are perfect for the Miners because now they can get into their run game. They can really put the pressure on the defense with their run pass keys, but also the zone read and read option, something that is certainly worth calling in situations like this.
1 for 6 on 3rd down.
There it goes.
Jones has it and more. Jones will not be caught. And UTEP is on the board. 51-yard touchdown for Aaron Jones.
Got a chance here to see his breakaway speed. And when I watch this young man on film, you don't see him, Keith, getting caught from behind. He squirts through that hole. You got a bad angle from the safety, Deshaun Elliott, and he bursts through. Pay dirt. He finds.
DKR silenced. And it's a 3-point game. Aaron Jones in his career averaging 108 rushing yards per game. He's also known to do this, snap off the big run when UTEP needs it the most. We've got a ball game, perhaps unexpectedly, in Austin. Ride Aaron Jones. That's what this UTEP offense is trying to do. They just broke through in a major way as Jones scampered 51 yards for the touchdown to get UTEP on the board. Last week against New Mexico State, 249 yards. The most in the bowl subdivision in week 1. Nick Chubb from Georgia was number 2 on that list. Tonight, the numbers are a little deceiving because up until that 51-yarder, Texas had held Aaron Jones in check.
Yeah, but he's got big play potential, and that's why you got to keep an eye on this guy at all times.
When he came to campus, guys, as a speed burger, and he's just gotten himself up to 215, 220 pounds, but he's still got his speed.
Remember, before Chris Warren, went 91 yards for a touchdown against Texas Tech last season. In game number 2, Jones also went 91 yards for a touchdown against Texas Tech. Vance Bedford did not like the run fits against Notre Dame. He's not going to be happy here, Mark.
No, of course he's not. And I think when you look at this play, I want you to watch Timothy Cole, the linebacker, along with the safety, Deshaun Elliott. And here's where you'll see 2 poor angles. One right there from the linebacker, and then watch Deshaun Elliott at the end of this play had to circle off that angle. You want to come downhill and prevent them from going one way. That time he gave him a 2-way go, and that is not the guy you want to give the 2-way go to.
Second rush of at least 50 yards allowed by this Texas defense this season. Last 9 plays for the Texas offense, a loss of 5 yards.
Need to get back to setting the tempo, see if they can get in a hurry again.
Kyle Porter with a carry for 4 yards. The backfield has been all Porter and Chris Warren III. Deontay Foreman out in this game just because of the rough nature of that opening performance against Notre Dame. And quickly, we're up to a 3rd down.
Usher and Alvin Jones have been really good for the Miners at linebacker.
Quick pass to the outside, Warwick in space, and it's close to the 1st down. But Kalon Beverly was there to force Warwick out of bounds.
He is right on the marker. I believe this is a 1st down.
Texas lining up, ready to go fast. A freshman from Katy, left side of the line, Laundry.
This looks like a chop block. This is a big one, backs you up 15.
Holding offense, number 72. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
Actually, if you're going to have of the 2, that's the best penalty. Instead of the 15, you only get 10.
Yeah, that time there on Elijah Rodriguez, and that negated a Kyle Porter run where you got a chance to, you see him on the left side of your screen there. You could just let go, but he just continued to play. And, you know, this is new for him. The sophomore from Houston, Cypress Creek, 6'5", 295. He's still learning how to play at this level, and it's obvious here today.
We saw him play in the opener against Notre Dame, but he was playing left guard off the bench. Now at left tackle. We got the report from Don Davenport.
Got some young corners here, guys. This is a good time. You might see the play fake, try to get deep, one of the outside guys.
We heard from Don that Zach Shackelford was getting his ankle checked out in the locker room as Bouchel finds John Burt to set up a more manageable 3rd down. So Jake McMillan back at center for this Texas team.
Texas is going to find a lot of success with that play because guys are going to start to play off on John Burt. That's going to give them the short and quick passing game to work with.
First catch for Burt. Flushed down to the pocket. Lawrence Montague with the pressure. And it's a hook shot from Bouchel. And you see the look of frustration from Alvin Jones because we've got a penalty coming.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 16. 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
Kugler reminding Jones, use your head because they're off the field without that contact.
Absolutely. It's a punt situation. Flushed him outside. Ball was long since gone, and it's helmet to helmet. That's going to get called every time.
Porter stood up, running to the left side of this Texas line.
Again by Alvin Jones.
Yeah, and I said it earlier, 5'11", 225 pounds, but he plays a lot bigger than his stature would indicate.
Led Conference USA in sacks and tackles for loss a year ago. The keep from Bouchel, well timed, and he's got the 1st down. UTEP defense took the bait in the backfield. Bouchel pulled that football out of Kyle Porter's belly, and they're going. Jones with another tackle. As Kyle Porter getting a lot of run with Deontay Foreman not going in this game. Porter was one of the signing day surprises for Texas as they were able to land him out of Katy. Bouchel pressured, nifty move to get away initially, heaves it up. Incomplete pass.
For intentional grounding, the quarterback made it out of the pocket. Third down.
Solid play from Brian Magnesium.
That's good coverage by a young secondary that time. As Bouchel had time early in the play after the play fake, just good coverage.
Yeah, and this UTEP minor defense is also, they're bringing the pressure.
And look who's at quarterback now, Gerard Hurd. As Bouchel is out wide to the right side. Hurd with the draw. He's going to be down shy of that first down marker. First time that we've seen Gerard Hurd line up in the backfield.
I think you got to take points here.
And the kick team is on.
Yeah, just such a unique personnel grouping when you put Gerard Hurd out on the football field with what you're able to do. I like the creativity there out of Gilbert, the offensive coordinator for Texas, trying to do something different. That's something that they haven't shown on film.
This UTEP defense has stood up here in this first half.
When they needed to the most, bend but don't break. And the LSU transfer, Trent Domain, a perfect 3-for-3 to start off his Texas career. 13-7, drive stalls, but Texas still gets points on the board.
Texas football on Longhorn Network is brought to you by Kissing Tree in San Marcos, Texas, a distinctly Texan 55-plus community. And the Texas Lottery. Play the new University of Texas scratch ticket today.
The former Sunrise Spur. Now Bevo 15, that was him walking into DKR for the first time on a Texas football game day.
Stubborn like you, big guy. Stubborn like you.
You know it. And one of my favorite moments on air, no doubt, Texas game day final after Coach Brown's final game, where Bevo 14 did not want to get back in the trailer.
It took him like 45 minutes.
Yeah. And we were calling play-by-play for all of it. Fantastic moment here. As Texas with a field goal, hard charging on the kick return. Walter Don with the return. Got a full head of steam out of the end zone for this UTEP special teams unit.
Yeah, I don't think it's a knee-jerk reaction right here, Keith, to say that this is surprising and that this Texas team, if they're going to be an elite program, they've got to come out here and learn how to finish off opponents like UTEP. They're much more talented. They have more depth, all on paper. But the problem is that's not necessarily transitioning to the football field. You look at it now. If UTEP drives this ball down and they score, they could take the lead in the half in a game that Texas should be winning handily right now.
Remember a year ago, games against Rice, games against Kansas, they were close in the first half as well. Some sloppy mistakes by teams like Rice and Kansas made it more of a Texas lead than the game really was dictating going into the half. But we thought this would be a little different with the way they looked in that opener against Notre Dame. But still keep in mind, we saw Central Michigan on a fluky ending beat Oklahoma State.
Wow.
We've seen teams like Clemson
Indeed.
struggle. We saw TCU struggle in their opener.
Georgia struggling with Nichols.
Yeah. Fans trying to find a reason to get alive. Hard charging in is Deshaun Elliott. Flag on the play. They're going to blow this one dead. So fans think that Devontae Davis has just scored a touchdown.
Intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 7. Loss of down to the spot of the foul. Third down.
Kavika Johnson could feel Deshaun Elliott hounding him.
But this is just a great time blitz. You'll see him come from the left of your screen. Got underneath the offensive lineman, Brooks. And just a perfect angle to the football. And had Johnson not leap there at the end, that could have been a very violent collision below the knees.
It's going to be tough to keep Deshaun Elliott off the field. He's gotten his moments. A little more PT along with Kevin Vaccaro in this game with Dylan Haynes out. He is a playmaker.
They're going to review this, but Johnson kept the play alive, and he did. You could see his arm coming forward. He was throwing the football.
Charlie trying to get an explanation.
Devontae Davis was able to scoop that one up. He got into the end zone, but while he was doing that, the officials had blown that play dead.
You see right here, right as he turned, watch his arm. He's throwing the ball right there.
And he's down.
And he's already...
The knee is down before Johnson even lets this one go. Right there. So it's not even intentional grounding.
Yeah, but he's dead. You're right. The ball's going to be dead right there.
It's a sack on the play. And it should be it right there. Deshaun Elliott with the sack.
Now his elbow's down right there, too, in front of it. So he was down before the ball ever came out.
Elbow down. Knee down. Ball out. But just for effect, Charles Omenihu in as well to the UTEP backfield.
And Texas with all three of their timeouts here. Obviously, I would think that UTEP will probably do something safe, run a draw play, maybe a screen. At this point, it's going to be difficult to pick up the first down, and Texas will use one of their timeouts to save some clock and have an opportunity to gather momentum. Because remember, Texas won the toss and deferred to the second half.
Yep.
And it also gives you an opportunity to see Shane Buechele in the 4-minute or 2-minute offense.
After further review, the quarterback's forearm was down prior to him throwing the pass. There is no foul for intentional grounding. It'll be third down at the 16-yard line. Will the clock operator please reset the clock to 3:56?
So third and long. And they're going deep, right? They're taking a big shot here, huh?
No, but the clock, you know, the thing that does help UTEP there is the clock will be running now.
Yeah.
As soon as it's put into play, the clock is running.
This could be as vanilla as it comes. Tavika Johnson, now joined by Aaron Jones, who's pointing out some of the protections at the line. And the south end zone a little rowdy, leading to a timeout for UTEP. Sean Kugler wants to talk it over before facing a 3rd and 25 with 3:50 left in the first half. Coming up at the half, Texas game day at the half. Ricky Maniacho, VY, and Alex Lowe hanging out, getting ready to bring you the highlights. Can they hear me? Can I get a wave? Look at VY and the nice cream jacket. There's a wave. I got you guys. I don't miss you at
like
all.
A popsicle.
I've got Ahmad Brooks here and Keith Moreland. Texas game day final after the game. Going to hear from Charlie Strong live on set. So Sean Kugler just took his second timeout to talk about a 3rd and 25. Just under 4 minutes left on the clock. Hellraisers raising it. Draw play. Jones keeps his balance. Picks up a lot of yards. That will be shy of the original line of scrimmage on this drive.
Well, you knew it'd be a draw play or a quick pass, and I thought Texas would take a timeout, save some time on that clock. And Texas will take their first of 3 right now.
3:36 on the clock. I mean, that's, you can basically, in this offense, that's 2 drives.
Well, it is. Ahmad's point early in the game, special teams have been a difference in this game. Texas special teams have been good. They were good last week. They got a block already earlier in this game that turned into 3 points. So you know that UTEP's wanting to get this football off because they almost got one block and they've had one block.
The punts have been short. Off the leg of Alan Luna.
That started with the Jones miss, and he came back, and then Dixon. This guy early on is my MVP right now of the season. Great job there, Boyd, getting the ball down in the right position, and then Jones coming back for a second time. I will not miss this time. The young freshman making a play and getting his name on the stat sheet.
We saw that excellent job by Chris Boyd right there, step in front of the end zone, down that ball inside the 1. Had a couple of penalties that he overcame. Says a lot about him, a lot about the trust of his coaches as well. And once again on the punt return, Texas will have Amonte Foreman and Ja'Cory Warwick back. The up man, Foreman, will make the fair catch, and Texas will take over at their own 40 with 3:34 left.
Starting field position in this ball game has been incredible. In the break, Ahmad, you were talking to me. Texas has started in plus territory nearly every drive.
To the point which makes you a little surprised
Look at
that it's only 13 points
Their
on the
own
board
46
for Texas.
Well, I mean, short field, you know, that's a gift. That's a present for an offense. And, you know, the one thing that I've said, this offense has been out of sync. I mean, that's clear. That's obvious. They've only got 13 points on the board. But it'll be interesting to see how they fight off adversity. They had it so easy for them last game versus Notre Dame, getting early rhythm to this offense. Now you've got to come back, strain, fight to get back to where you know you can be.
Arguably, this game is being played without the best offensive player, though, from that game against Notre Dame and Deontay Foreman.
Fair enough.
And your starting left tackle, Connor Williams. Starting right guard, Kent Perkins. And Zach Shackelford has been dealing with an ankle issue in the locker room. John Burt gets pushed inside the 40-yard line. Second catch for John Burt. Texas offense moving quickly.
You may be asking, well, why haven't you seen that deep strike? The defensive backs for UTEP are playing off coverage. They're trying to give them the cushion so that they can prevent themselves from going over the top.
Patient running in the backfield. Jones misses the tackle. And that is what Chris Warren III will do. Keeping plays alive with the physicality.
Alex Anderson has to come out of the game. Another injury. This offensive front, much different looking than what we saw last week.
Terrell Cooney now at right guard. Foreman, first down.
Great effort.
Michelle looking to his right. He's got John Burt, overthrows the 6'3" receiver.
Little game outside with Oliver. Oliver comes to the outside, pulls the corner up with him. Burt was open on the about 7 or 8 yard dig, just overthrown.
Michelle 10 of 13. Back to Warren.
And they go so quickly that the running game can be involved even though you're trying to save clock.
At this point in time, do you want to eat up the final 2 minutes, though?
No, you're trying to score.
Warwick takes a shot, but he's inside the 10-yard line. Devin Cockrell came up, gave him a lick on the helmet. Warwick has his 3rd catch of the game. Inside the red zone. Texas has yet to score a touchdown in a red zone opportunity. Warren is corralled by the UTEP defense.
This UTEP, El Paso does not have the humidity. You can see that this defense is starting to tire. They're having a tough time at this pace getting lined up.
Pump fake. Wheel route. Petey Warwick didn't get it the first time, but he gets it here. Ja'Cory Warwick now has the first touchdown catch of his Texas career.
Watch the touch here on this pass, Keith. I mean,
perfectly thrown
second
ball.
week in a row, we've seen him just really put a ball on the money in the back of the end zone. That's close.
Uh-oh.
They'll review this one, but the ball placement. And we've heard about this young man's accuracy once again, giving his wide receiver an opportunity to make a play.
The ruling on the field of a touchdown is under further review.
Ja'Cory Warwick cannot catch a break. That's going to be a tough one to overturn, though.
It's inconclusive what we saw right there.
See if we get a better angle here.
Yeah, I think that right foot's down first, so it won't matter about the left. That's a touchdown. I think this play will stand.
Yep, right foot is down.
So even though it appears the left foot is out of bounds, there is the right foot tap, which would make it a completion and the first career touchdown for Ja'Cory Warwick. He says his eyes got so big in overtime against Notre Dame, saw that end zone after slipping through a couple of tackles, only to get tripped up.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Now we can celebrate.
Yeah, if you're Texas offense, that was a huge sigh of relief. You know what I mean? Kind of sputtered here. You were trying to get going, find your rhythm. And I thought Texas really controlled that entire drive. They got into the plays they wanted to. They were able to run the football and also were very effective through the air with the pass.
And how about the play from Deshaun Elliott to set it all
Big
up,
time.
to push back the UTEP offense, led them to a 3rd and 25. Eventually they made them punt the football. Texas cashes in with that great field position, get their first red zone touchdown from the game. And this is a ball that we've seen Buechele throw time and time again, like the first touchdown to Amonte Foreman in the opener. He's got a great touch.
He's got great touch and a great feel to where his receiver's going to be. Watch him push off his back foot, lay it up. The defender's got his back turned. By the time he looks for the football, it's already there. Really nice job right here. You got to put some arc on it, but watch the nose of the football come down. So the arc comes down and allows just the receiver as an ex defensive back. I can tell you that I hate to see that.
You know what I love too was the creativity from Sterling Gilbert.
You're right.
They've been peppering it outside with that quick passing game. That time there, he showed the fake screen and went right into the wheel route. That is a very creative play that'll give defenses fits, because the defensive back, as soon as you see that, you look back to the quarterback to see, hey, is he throwing his football? And right there, that's when Warwick pops out of the back, and Buechele knew exactly what was coming and put it right on the money. Look at this young man, 12 of 15, 2 touchdowns. He's been able to protect the football, and I think that's what's been most impressive outside of his maturity.
And with the rhythm of the game, it's been tough for them to establish that as well, because that's what UTEP wants to do. Control the clock, get an up-tempo offense off the field, and make them wait on the sideline. Walter Don with the return. And UTEP will have 1:18 to try to get something on the board here before the half. And this is not their forte. They are the slow, methodical offense. John Kugler, former offensive lineman at UTEP and offensive line coach for the Miners. His team has 119 yards with 1:18 left before the half. A little stutter step from Jones. He is the lone touchdown for the Miners. A 54-yard touchdown earlier in this quarter.
Well, in the first half, UTEP is going to outgain Texas on the ground.
.52 seconds on the game clock away from Texas game day at the half. Kavika Johnson keeping. Kevin Vaccaro forcing him out of bounds. UTEP,
don't fall asleep here. Still has a action and try to get something vertical.
Texas fans trying to wake up. Look at this on our left side. We've got a bunch formation. Jones bouncing it outside. He's got a block. He's got the sideline. And out of bounds into Texas territory. And Nashawn Hughes getting mixed up.
Well, this is going to be holding, and it's going to come back.
There's a little activity after the play between Nashawn Hughes and Hayden Plinke.
Holding. Offense, number 81. 10-yard penalty from the start of the foul. Repeat first down.
So another penalty that damages momentum to a UTEP drive. I've got a feeling I know what Coach Kugler's talking about at the half. And when that man speaks, I'm listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. Wealth of knowledge, one of the best offensive line coaches in all of football.
And he's intimidating looking.
He does look that.
Ford bringing down Aaron Jones by the ankles. And UTEP may be content to just take this one into the half. Down by 13. And that's exactly what they are going to do. Slow start for Texas offensively. Part of that because of the UTEP offense playing ball control. With some standout special team plays from Brandon Jones. Set up a field goal with his first career block. Perhaps making Charlie Strong a happy man going into the half. Let's find out with Don Davenport.
Well, Coach Strong, offensively, you found some rhythm there as you head into the half. What was the difference execution-wise?
Well, we're getting up on the ball, snapping the ball, and we got into the rhythm, and we just get great play selection while we were mixing it up.
I know defensively you expected to see a heavy dose of Aaron Jones at running back. How would you assess your defense's ability to contain him?
Well, we had to tackle well. We're not doing a great job of tackling and just making sure that we don't give up the big runs.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
So Charlie Strong trotting off into the break as his Longhorns hold the lead. That brings us to halftime here in Austin. Now it's time for a little Texas game day at the half with my guy, Alex Loeb.
It's a little too close for comfort at times, but Texas gets a late score. They also get this score from the birthday boy, Gerard Hurd. First receiving touchdown of his career. Shane Buechele's excited. Texas heads into the half with a 20-7 lead right now over UTEP. The nation's leading rusher, however, Aaron Jones with a $114 on the ground, including a 51-yard scamper. Look at the numbers below him. Shane Buechele nearly perfect. 3 incompletions, 2 touchdowns, and again, the Horns lead by 13. For comparison's sake, when you look at last week in the first half against Notre Dame, by the way, Texas racked up 248 yards. In this one, a little bit less than that. By the way, the good news for Texas, when tied or winning at the break, they are 12-3 under Charlie Strong, outscoring their opponents on average by nearly 13 points per game when in that situation like they are right now. Coming up after the break, we will break down the first half, get full analysis from Ricky, VY, and Manny. Once again, Texas leading 20-7. Keep it right here on LHA.
Heading into the second half here, the first Saturday of college football in Austin, Texas. It's the Longhorns leading UTEP 20-7. Welcome back to Austin, everybody. Laura Galindo here hanging out with the former alumni of DBU, Ahmad Brooks.
What's up, big guy?
Keith Moreland. Nothing much. Just fired up to talk about the second half. First half, a little sluggish at times because UTEP wanted to slow the ball. keep it out of the hands of Shane Buechele. We see why. 3 incompletions in the first half.
We did a really nice job of staying composed early in the half. And then the other part for me, Ahmad, is he took the receivers that were open. The system dictates what you're going to do. He was able to run the football, but his touch down the field has just been spectacular here in this first half.
Yeah, he's mature beyond his years. The quick release, the efficiency of this offense really helps him find a really good rhythm. And when he early on in the ball game, I thought he might have just been a tad bit off with his rhythm, but that last drive, you really saw him start to gain more confidence and look like the guy that we saw last Sunday.
And remember, it was a 10-7 game for Texas. They had the lead, and on a 3rd down, it looked like Buechele had thrown an incompletion to punt the ball back to UTEP, but Alvin Jones had the unnecessary roughness on Buechele, which extended that drive for the Longhorns and allowed them to get the field goal. And now for our first half stats presented by Coors Light. Texas playing from behind in terms of rushing yards. I don't know if you guys were expecting that or not, even though we pumped up Aaron Jones a lot coming into this game. What stands out the most to you, Ahmad?
Well, I would expect Texas to have more success running the football. Despite Deontay Foreman being out, I know that this is still a deep unit, but it also goes back to some of these injuries on the offensive line. Trying to play with that cohesion when you've got guys changing in and out like the carousel.
You've had 10 different people play tonight on the offensive line. But the one stat that jumps off the page right there for me is Texas has had great starting field position in this ball game and has taken advantage of it.
Yeah, and give UTEP credit. They've been able to do this numerous times tonight. Really stuff the run and be strong and tough and physical in between the tackles.
So no Deontay Foreman tonight. He's dealing with injuries. Chris Warren, the 3rd, got the start. 10 carries, 52 yards in the first half. Texas essentially played most of the first half without 3 starting offensive linemen. Left tackle Connor Williams, center Zach Shackelford, and the right guard Kent Perkins. Buechele off to the races, cutting back. And flying in from the secondary.
Trying to go quickly right back to the line of scrimmage, but the penetration, this is something we've seen UTEP do here. The first receiver, they've been able to take away the first read, and they've been able to get in pursuit and force Buechele to put the ball down.
Nick Needham with the tackle, bring it up 3rd and 3. Quick pass in and out of the hands. I believe that's the first target in the career of Devin Duvernay. The late offseason pickup, as Duvernay originally was part of the Baylor recruiting class, was released from his national letter of intent, and he is one of the top freshman prospects at receiver in all of America.
This gentleman right here might be MVP. He has been outstanding punting the football.
Michael Dixon, we saw him down 1 inside the 1-yard line as Chris Boyd hustled down to make that play. Special teams blunders. Janelle loses the handle, but UTEP is able to recover. Let's go down to the sideline to catch up with Don Davenport, who had a chance to talk to UTEP head coach Sean Kugler.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Coach Sean Kugler said part of his message at half was to limit some of the mistakes that they were making, but he told his guys, keep fighting because we are still in this. He said he's pretty happy with what he's seen out of Kavika Johnson. He likes how smart he is with the ball, nice with his own read stuff. He likes how he's making decisions. He said they just have to really settle in. He felt like they did that just before the half, and they have to come out here in the second half, settle in, and feel like they belong.
First career start for Kavika Johnson at quarterback. Zach Greenlee started the season opener, played through injuries for most of that game, unable to go in this one. Opening play of the second half for the UTEP offense is what we've seen heavy doses of in the first half. Give the ball to Aaron Jones.
Got a good forward lean. You like this young man. I mean, he's a slashing style of runner. He's got good speed, though. If he finds space, we've already seen that as he's taken one to the house from over 50. He finishes. See, that forward lean, you can very few times you see him going backwards.
Johnson only 4 of 8 through the air for 33 yards. UTEP is trying to attack the heart of this Texas defense. Johnson with the carry. Wheeler, Hager, and Malik Jefferson there to bring him down.
Now Malik Jefferson plays that absolutely perfect. He sees, plays it from inside out as a linebacker. When they run zone read, you got to take the tailback first. Once you have the tailback, he doesn't get it, go get the quarterback. He played it perfectly that time.
Vance Bedford in these types of situations likes to have Malik Jefferson spy the quarterback. It's something they went to last week to try to stop Deshaun Kaiser from running all over the field.
3rd and 3. Jones is not going to get it. 3 and outs. Killer for this UTEP offense. It slowed them down on the onset of this game as UTEP opened up with 3 straight 3-and-out drives. Punt team comes out, and this tells you about the field position Texas has played with. Right now, P.D. Warwick is lining up inside of the right horn of the Longhorn logo at midfield. Foreman tries to Olay his way out of the punt from Alan Luna. But Texas set up, ready to get their offense going after an early 3-and-out to start the second half.
Texas football on Longhorn Network is brought to you by Whataburger. If you love sweet and spicy, you'll love Whataburger's sweet and spicy bacon burger. Here for a limited time.
1st and 10 for the Texas offense from their own 48-yard line. Longhorns with an average starting field position of their own 43. It's twofold. The punting of Michael Dixon, and every time the Texas gets UTEP inside the 20, looks like that Texas defense has been pitching it 3-and-out. Warren taking it to the far side. He's hustled out of bounds by Nick Usher.
And they're in this up-tempo offense, but it's important to notice the personnel. Colin Johnson, the true freshman wide receiver at 6'6", the tallest wide receiver to play the position, has some one-on-one opportunities down there.
Rod Hurd trying to make a man miss. He gets to the plus side of the 50. Third down upcoming. Sterling Gilbert says of his offense, first downs equal fast. Bouchel feels the pressure and gets clocked. Mike Soda was there as Bouchel tried to pick up a first down on the hook.
Good to see the 18-wheeler package right here and go for it on 4th down. They're going to stay with Bouchel, but they are going.
Fourth and short. And the keep from Bouchel. That UTEP defense went with Warren. And Bouchel converting on 4th down.
Took a lick in the play before and kept on ticking. That's how you win the guys over in your locker room. Show that you're tough.
Back to Gerard Hurd. Catch number 5. The
See the pace.
Texas quarterback.
Pace continues to increase with each yard gain.
Gino Breslin doing everything he can to hang on to the ankles of Chris Ward. Ward finished last season with back-to-back 100-yard performances. The record-setting performance against Texas Tech on Thanksgiving. Then went over the century mark of the upset against the Baylor Bears. And look how quick that ball gets out. Colin Johnson, son of Texas legend Johnny Johnson, with his first catch in the burnt orange.
Great adjustment. Come back to the football.
continues the fight. And again, first down equals fast.
Yeah, and Sterling Gilbert said, and what this offense is predicated on as there's an injured minor down on the field, is picking up first downs. And, you know, it almost feeds to the fire of this offense. When you can get that type of rhythm going, you get the defense on their heels, and now you can really press the gas and be as fast as you'd like to be and control the tempo.
Well, what it does to the opponent's defensive coordinator, he can't change and get his play call in. So he's got to stay in a base defense, and it gives you, as Sterling Gilbert knows, that it gives me an opportunity to know what defense is going to be on the field as I make my call to my team. So the faster you go, the less changes you're going to see on the defensive side of the ball.
Really simplified things for Shane Buechele as well in that opener against Notre Dame. I told you a lot in the pregame show leading up to that game that defensively for Notre Dame, their DC, Brian Van Gorder, known for dialing up so many exotic-looking blitzes. They had to limit that because of the pace that Texas was playing, and Shane Buechele was put in some great situations to make quick reads because of that.
Well, they don't play much too deep, cover two. They went to cover two by the second quarter because they couldn't keep people from getting behind them.
Ryan Magnesium out of Houston, Texas, helped off the field with this UTEP team. And you hear the swoops start to pick up from the crowd here at DKR. Warren nearly breaking the tackle for the touchdown. Deshaun Smith got a nice little ride there, but he did do enough to keep Warren the third out of the pay dirt. Another good defensive play from UTEP. Sky Logan with the tackle. Swoops up tempo with the keeper. We saw Texas do this against Notre Dame with Shane Buechele. They got up to the line of scrimmage so fast there was no one lining up in front of the center and allowed Buechele to get the sneak. But now we've got 3rd and goal inside the 1.
I think you go back to swoops here. You trust him with it, and this is what he's built for right here.
Warren stretches out the football, loses it. It appears that Smokey has good reason to fire.
In possession of the ball. Touchdown.
Welcome back into Austin. I'm Dawn Davenport, nice enough to be joined here on the sideline by Texas Athletic Director Mike Perrin. And what is an extraordinary week for Texas football after that big win over Notre Dame. I'm sure your phone and your emails, you haven't had a chance to answer all of them just yet after the big win. What does a win like that do, not just for Texas football, but for Texas athletics as a whole?
Dawn, you're exactly right. I was covered up with phone calls and emails and text messages Sunday night and Monday and Tuesday. It's so gratifying to hear from fans and people I've known for years reaching out to all of us and thanking us. It's an energizing win. We needed that kind of win from a couple of standpoints. One is for the team to jump out in front, then get behind, and come back and win it in overtime. I'm not sure we had that kind of resilience and resolve a year ago. This young team has grown up a lot. The conditioning was superb all through the spring and summer and preseason. I thought our guys were still totally in the game in the second overtime like they were earlier. From that standpoint, it was a great, great victory. Then you take the fact that we had both of our quarterbacks playing. Not every program can succeed with 2 quarterbacks. We've got Shane Buechele, a freshman who's got great skills. Tyrone Swoops, taller, bigger, senior, different skills. But to have 2 guys who admire and respect each other and work together like that is a real tribute to them, their individual leadership, and to our coaching staff. It was a great win on all fronts. Let me say now from the department standpoint, around here there's a saying, when football wins, everything is better. And that's true. The smiles on the faces this week on campus, in the athletic department, every coaching staff, it's been a spectacular, spectacular week. And we needed that win when we got it on our home turf. It was great.
A great atmosphere again so far here tonight. You know we have to talk Big 12 expansion because that's what everybody's talking about. You were on record at Big 12 Media Days Do we want to let the guys call this here?
Yeah, John will just update everybody. They probably saw it, but that's
We'll come right back
Evans scooping up the fumbled football. And it will be Texas football. Sherrod Evans with the fumble recovery. Texas set up in the red zone.
What's really impressive about this is team defense. Watch how the Texas jerseys just swarm to this football. It looked like there was a hole there, and all of a sudden, and I don't know if he was down there, that ball looked like it popped out late, but it's going to be hard to overturn that call. Right here, Jason Hall doing a nice job. And you lose sight of the football there for a second.
Yeah,
looks like he might have been down on the ground. That's going to be a difficult play to overturn. You've got to find enough evidence to overturn this play now that the officials have made the call.
Yeah, they're going to definitely review it at this point.
Of a fumble is under further review.
As Jones last week put the ball on the ground twice, only lost one of them, though. It's one of the things. He is an excellent running back, but he has had a tendency to put the ball on the ground. You can see him right here as he goes forward. You know what? I'm not sure that ball was coming out before he got to the ground.
Yeah, I think that's a great angle there from our crew, and it looked like there. Obviously, his bottom's already on the ground, and if that's the case, yeah, I think this ball is going to come back. Watch it here as he's churning those legs. Right about here when he hits the ground. He still had possession, in my opinion.
Also a nice play for Jason Hall just to step up into that gap and put a big thump on Aaron Jones.
What's the awareness? You know, we've seen a couple times today, these guys are intentionally trying to break out the football. And I remember when I played here, Bull Reese used to have a saying, said, fit, wrap, and strip. And the whole point was is when you wrap those guys up, you want to be conscious where the football is at and give your defense an opportunity to put one on the ground and to get a takeaway for your team.
The great thing about that, too, was your teammates, especially the linebackers and the other guys in the secondary, if you get somebody wrapped up, their job is to come get it.
No doubt about it.
Get it out of there.
No doubt about it.
You get a part of that. I promise you, coaching staffs know, hey, you got him wrapped up, somebody else gets it out.
Indeed.
Regardless of the ruling on the field, impressive outing so far for this Texas defense.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll be frank. I don't think there's a tremendous amount of offensive weapons for UTEP when you take Aaron Jones out of the equation. You're starting a sophomore quarterback. Your starter goes down. So, in all fairness, I think this defense has done a good job, and they've done what they've needed to do to prevent this team from getting in the end zone, with the exception of that big run from Aaron Jones where we saw two poor angles to the football, which was something that Vance wanted to clean up. But I think all in all, this defense has done a good job of keeping the Miners in check.
And really, you go back to last week, too, with the rush defense. You take out the 54-yarder on the opening drive. The Texas rush defense held Notre Dame to about 3.5 yards per carry. If you take out that missed tackle that led to that big game, you take out that one from Aaron Jones, and this is looking like a shutdown Texas rush defense.
Indeed.
I know you can't take away those big plays, and that's definitely something that has to be shored up as well.
Well, I think two things tonight's game showed me. This defense, this is a defensive win tonight. Obviously, there's 27 points. It may get a lot more than that. But the offense has been okay, but the defense has done their job, and the kicking game's been outstanding. So you take those two things, those win you a lot of games, even when the offense is not outstanding.
And guys, you see how long the officials here are deliberating. That just goes to show you the difficulty that they're under right now to try to make this call, because we saw just about every angle known to man, and it was still very difficult to find the evidence there to overturn the call. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, from that one angle we saw, it looked like his bottom had already hit the ground where he had possession. But I don't envy the officials here as they're going to have to come back and make a final decision.
The longer it goes, you get the sense that perhaps it's going to stay as called, because, I mean, you could have seen here with another look, the ball could have been slightly moving before it completely pops out. We're about to find out, though.
Well, he took the headset off, and now he's
doing a double take.
Did a double take on us. Here we go.
Start.
After further review, the runner's knee was down in possession of the ball. It'll be UTEP's ball, second down at their own 15-yard line. Will the clock operator please reset the clock to 8:04?
Let's go back down to Don Davenport and Mike Perrin.
Well, of course, just as we are talking Big 12 expansion, we get cut off here. You were on record at Media Days as saying that you weren't necessarily a proponent of expansion. Where do you stand on that now?
My statement was that I was not in favor of expansion just for the sake of expansion. By that I mean that any university admitted to the Big 12 would need to be a good fit on many fronts: academics, fan base, net accretion of value from looking at revenue from television and other sources. There are many other factors that play into it, such as travel time for other sports. Football is relatively easy. Most games, other than last Sunday, most games are on Saturdays. So football doesn't cause the missing of many classes by student athletes. However, almost everything else plays during the week, sometimes multiple days like baseball and golf and tennis. So there are many factors involved. The presidents did vote for the commissioner to evaluate that at their July teleconference meeting. Commissioner Bowlesby has done a very thorough job of beginning his process. He will report to us later in the month, and then has another meeting with the presidents. By us, I mean the athletic directors. He has a meeting with the presidents currently scheduled in October. So that's a process that's being worked out by the commissioner and the conference office with schools that are interested. So we'll see where it takes us.
We'll wait and see. All right, Texas Athletic Director Mike Tarrant, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, guys.
We're talking about length of travel, not just for football, but the non-revenue sports as well. I immediately think it's a long trip to Provo, Utah, and to the state of Florida as well. Time zones.
And speaking of length of travel, that last play, Anthony Wheeler, the effort that he gave on the sideline is probably the reason why Texas has forced the punt. And going back to what this Texas defense has been able to do, they've been able to get off the field.
Yeah. Every time the ball has been inside that 20-yard line. Petey Warwick setting up Texas at their own 45. Great field position continues as Texas wants to continue to put up the points. 27-7. Absolutely gorgeous Saturday night here in Austin, Texas. Always better with the little Texas football. Shane Buechele, the keeper, gives himself up with the slide. Get about 8 yards on the first down carry.
I like that. I like his awareness to be able to get down, protect himself, so they can get back on the ball.
Play action. He's got a man. End zone. Dorian Leonard running by the UTEP defense. And Buechele dropped that into the long outstretched arms of the junior from Longview.
Yeah, he can stretch the field with his arm, and he doesn't shy away from making the difficult throw. That time there, Leonard getting on top of the defensive back. I mean, and I don't know if you could have thrown that ball any better, Keith. I mean, it landed in his hands like a loaf of bread. The weight of it was perfect. The location, Buechele with a big boy ball there.
He throws a beautiful deep ball. We see these fast receivers. They don't even break stride when Buechele leads them into the end zone. And Dorian Leonard, the biggest play of his Texas career, had an issue with drops a year ago, but not here on this Saturday night against UTEP in Austin, Texas. Buechele starting to roll. Dorian Leonard finding the end zone, but Texas up over UTEP 34-7. Shane Buechele, 16-20, 3 touchdowns. Very close to having number 4, but a ball was fumbled going into the end zone in the first quarter by Ja'Cory Warwick. And the quick strike, big play, Texas offense coming alive. Sterling Gilbert says his offense is predicated on really 2 things: explosive plays and first downs. Longhorns have had plenty of both in this game. Neal will take a knee. Sterling Gilbert had to tell his team, by no means does that performance against Notre Dame mean we have a veteran quarterback. Could have fooled me, Keith.
You can see right here is where he steps in to make this throw. Right at the end of this, as he comes back to go forward, his momentum carries him into it. As the ball snapped, as he comes forward right here with the play action. But what's so impressive is he steps into it and he lays the ball up, and it's got such an easy nose down.
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody I've seen here at Texas over the last half century that's thrown the ball any better than he does down the field with touch. He's got great command to the outside, both to the left and to the right. Boy, just a great delivery of the long ball.
And you know those receivers are loving his presence in the pocket as well. All 17 catches coming from receivers tonight for this Texas offense. Buechele really just fell into the lap of Sterling Gilbert, and it's looked like the perfect marriage between OC and quarterback. First time Gilbert really got to know Buechele was his first weekend in Austin, Texas on the job. Buechele was in town on an official visit. He had run into him a little bit recruiting at Arlington Lamar,
looking at other players.
Yeah, he joked around that Buechele big-timed him because at the time he was the Tulsa OC.
Hey, it happens.
They were on the same page, though. And Ahmad, you brought up the point to Sterling. It appears like they share the same personality traits.
Yeah.
There's a little, to clean it up, kick butt in both those guys.
And calm and coolness to both of them, for sure.
Penalty moving up, UTEP. Chris Nelson giving chase to Kavika Johnson. He's going to heave it up. And Jason Hall up and over the UTEP receiver.
Got away with one here. This is, could be pass interference. It was not called. The ball sort of floated as Hall came up.
You're anticipating the ball getting there. Got away with it right at the end as he came up.
Might have got on his back just a little quick. Got away with it. No call.
UTEP trying to break the 50 for only the second time in this game.
Texas defense also have some reserves in the ball game right now.
Kavika Johnson felt that pressure. Try to get it to Kent Taylor. The defense from Tim Cole to break it up. Sets up a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, Tim Cole, one of the senior leaders on this team. And Keith, you and I have both been a senior at this program before. And what I've been really impressed with, Lowell and Keith, is the way that these seniors have led. I was completely shocked last week to see the impact they had on the field. We had been hearing about what they meant to the younger guys, but this senior class deserves a lot of credit for the way that they've helped this program get back to the top.
The freshman with the big hit on Johnson. And Freitag had the ball. Looked like he had some room for the first down. Edwin Freeman brings him down. And that's going to set up a 4th and short. What will UTEP do?
It looks like they're bringing the punting team on the field. Lo, I think you were right. Freitag, once he catches that football, if he just turns north and south, I think he gets the first down. But the great speed of the Texas defense, if you go laterally with this team speed, you're in trouble.
The kicking game has been a struggle for Alan Luna, the UTEP specialist. That goes over the head of Amonte Foreman. This one will be a beauty if they can track it down in time. And they cannot. That will be a touchback. So Sterling Gilbert and his Texas offense start at the 20. And Gilbert, he's got some swagger to make up for a resume that when it comes to offensive coordinators making the big paycheck isn't as established as some of the others in the game. Was it Eastern Illinois, where he did a good job with Jimmy Garoppolo there, who will be starting in place of Tom Brady. And his offense is certainly clicking here. 86 total plays, most of it on the ground. And that's something that goes along with a misconception about this G-Force offense. It's based around what they do on the ground.
Oh, there's no question. They would like to be somewhere around 60-40, 60% of the yards on the ground and 40 through the air. You get big plays like they've been getting, though, in these first 2 ball games. Vertically, there's going to be some big numbers in the passing game.
Warren showing the balance. It's good chunk yardage on the first play of this drive.
No way to simulate this kind of speed in practice.
Warwick in space, lifts a tackle. First down, Texas. And Ja'Cory Warwick slowly and surprisingly has become a go-to target for Shane Buechele.
Another one of those seniors that I was talking about being very reliable for this team.
Dorian Leonard with his second catch. But I say go-to receiver, and you can put that label on a few receivers here because they spread it out. I thought it was interesting, too, that Sterling Gilbert told us that he's made aware of which players have certain amounts of touches, so he can make a conscious effort going into a drive. If he knows a guy like Dorian Leonard needs a touch, he can engineer this offense around getting a specific guy a touch to get him a little love, get him into the game, and also keep in mind someone that has the ability to make a big play. Colin Johnson trying to do that.
Yeah, most offense coordinators don't admit that. So pretty much what he was doing, that he stat watches, and he's got somebody who informs him of that information. And you know, the position group, if you ask me, that has grown the most has been the offensive skill players for the University of Texas.
No doubt.
He now has an array of weapons that he could throw out on the edges, not to mention those 2 powerful and dynamic running backs. And so it makes it a lot easier for him to be able to manage the personalities and the egos of this team.
Warren sitting at 94 yards. Looking for his third 100-yard rushing game in the span of 4 games, dating back to the end of last season. Deontay Foreman, a no-go in this game. Was beat up in that win against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. As Foreman had over 100 yards in that game. 3rd and long. Buechele has time, but swallowed up for the sack.
That's a covered sack. Nice job in the secondary for the Miners that time. He was trying to get to Gerard Hurd. He had a man under him and behind him, and just great coverage. And Buechele did a nice job here. You've got to lead, protect the football. This is great coverage right here. Trying to get down. There was nowhere to go with that football right there, so he held it, didn't turn it over.
And that inside DB doing a good job of knowing where he was at and got right in the passing window of that slant.
Nick Usher with credit for the sack.
That's a weapon.
Yeah, he is. Oh, boy.
The Aussie. Michael Dixon. First time I saw him punt live for Texas
I was
in
there.
practice.
Oh, boy.
He punted the football onto Red River. It was a shame.
Great story now, knowing how good he can be and what type of weapon he's been for this team.
Coach Strong simply calls him awesome. Well, some of the happenings around the Saturday of college football. Top story here is Blackie. Central Michigan gets the upset win in Stillwater on a fluky play.
It shouldn't even have happened.
No, even the MAC officials came out after the game and said there was intentional grounding. That actually was, but after that they gave Central Michigan an untimed down in which there was a Hail Mary that was caught short of the end zone. Lateral back to another receiver, which ended up in a touchdown against Central Michigan to win. It should not have counted, as Keith said. And this gives you perspective for this game as well. Georgia surviving Nichols, and Arkansas leading TCU in the 4th quarter. So regardless of opponent, these early games, never really know what's in store for your favorite team out there. UTEP made it a close game in the first half. Field position, timely defense. A big reason why Texas has been able to extend this now into the second half. That and Shane Buechele starting to throw some dimes.
Yeah, and this UTEP Miners team is just not built to come back from leads like this.
No.
You know, they like to methodically milk out the clock, and Texas right now really teeing off on the run.
And they haven't been able to stretch the field, which they do like to do. They just haven't been able to get vertical in their passing game at all.
Yeah, and you've got to also have your running game working so that your play action to set up that play does work.
Nowhere for Kavika Johnson to go. And the Texas defense take a bow, Puna Ford. Why not?
Well, there's going to be a celebration penalty here, I'm afraid, against Texas.
That's why not. Charles Omenihu with the sack.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 95, taking a bow. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Look, I don't necessarily blame him the way he beat Brooks on that play, but you've got to be more controlled. And, you know, one thing that Coach Brown used to always tell us, because the emotions of the game, you can sometimes get caught up, Keith, as you know.
Yes, you can.
Always celebrate with your teammate. That prevents the official from making it seem as though you're trying to be boastful and brag on yourself and draw attention just to yourself. A lot of times you can prevent those penalties if you celebrate with your teammates.
Texas was looking at forcing their 7th 3-and-out of this game before that penalty on Puna Ford. Make no mistake about it, though. His defensive coordinator, Vance Bedford, will have some choice words, but won't go down too hard on the guy, because he absolutely loves Puna Ford. He's the best player on the defense. More pressure from the edge. Omenihu, another piece, and Kevin Vaccaro in the backfield as well.
Yeah, I thought last year that he really earned some playing time at the Cal game. And we had an opportunity to talk to Kevin Vaccaro, and I just asked him point blank, straight up, because I've lost my job here or felt like I should have played more. I said, do you feel like you should have played more? And he said, yeah, but I knew that I had to be ready for my time. He's waited that out. He's back in the starting lineup because of Dylan Haynes' injury. Yep. And you've been able to see him the last 2 weeks make impactful plays, and especially in putting pressure to the quarterback. Vaccaro really showing his value today.
And Charles Omenihu as well. He's had perhaps his best game in the burnt orange. Smokey fires. That means we are done with 3. If you're not going to put up the hook'em, put up the 4, because that's the territory we're headed to now. Shane Buechele helping Texas take a comfortable 34-7 lead into the 4th quarter. Texas holds UTEP to 15 yards in the 3rd quarter. They've got the 34-7 lead. Time to catch up with the undisputed sideline champ of the world, Don Davenport, who has the belt to prove it.
That's right, I do. By the way, this is a legit belt. You know, we talk so much about this up-tempo Texas offense. Conditioning-wise, that was important in the offseason as they transitioned to this new offense, maybe even more than other teams. So Pat Moore, the head strength and conditioning coach, came up with a fun way to really get the guys into it. It was the battle of the belts. And I have to tell you, this is a legit belt. It is heavy. This is the middleweight champion belt. There were 3 of them, light, middle, and heavy. So this is actually Nashawn Hughes' belt. They gave away 6 of them during the summer to get the guys really into the strength and conditioning program. You know, we were talking about the offensive line and how they had to kind of get ready for this up-tempo offense, and Coach telling us he would see them on the treadmill there in the spring and just tell them you have no idea what you are about to get into. So strength and conditioning, really a focus for this Texas team as they transitioned into this new offense, guys. It's legit, by the way.
3rd and 27. That's a shame about seeing Tristan Nicholson on the sideline on crutches. He dominated the battle for the heavyweight belt throughout summer, and for most of camp was looking like a guy that would open up the season as a starter at right tackle before running into some injury concerns.
Another flag on the field here.
There's the heavyweight champ, Tristan Nicholson.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 2. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Vance Bedford has his work cut out for him. 2 penalties, back-to-back drives, leading to first downs for this UTEP Miners team. We saw celebration from Puna Ford, and there the no-no on Chris Boyd.
Well, they're averaging 10 a ball game at this point. 9 in this game for 100 yards, 11 against Notre Dame. That's too many. 10 flags a ball game's too many. Got to cut it down.
And the point being, you can get away with it against UTEP, but next week at Cal, those penalties, all the yards you could possibly get will be precious.
Great open field tackle right here.
Antoine Davis.
You break down. Ahmad, you got that guy on the outside, one-on-one. It's hard to have a perfect form tackle. Folks, this is a perfect form tackle. It moves to the outside and squares him up.
Boys and girls, that's textbook. That's what it looks like. He wrapped him up, did a great job of shadowing, but he also closed down that space to force the ball carrier right into him. Good job there from Antoine Davis. I know Vance Bedford, the former defensive back here at the University of Texas, very pleased with that open field tackle.
That was one of his biggest takeaways from his defensive performance against Notre Dame, the missed tackles, especially in space. Textbook form there, Malcolm Roach. Don't hurt him. Jaquan White on the wrong end of that collision with the freshman from Baton Rouge.
This is vicious. It was legal, but it's just vicious. You don't know it's coming. That's, nothing illegal about it. And that's a wake-up call.
Yeah, it is.
I'm telling you, big things in the future for Malcolm Roach. Just happens to be in a position where he's playing behind Nashawn Hughes and Breck Hager. 3rd and 5. Looking for Freitag. Spotted about a yard short of the first down.
That time there, Johnson doing a good job. How do you beat the blitz? Texas bringing the blitz. You throw right into the teeth of it. And he saw the blitz coming from his left side and went immediately to the wide receivers over there that were there for the short read. You see it here. The blitz will come to the right of your screen, and he just throws right into the teeth of the blitz. Great job there from Elliott to be able to prevent yards after the catch. But Johnson there showing that he was able to get a good pre-snap read and make the right decision.
High snap. Luna controls it. Short punt. And Petey Warwick showing why he's back there.
Yeah.
Step number 1, catch the football. Ja'Cory Warwick does that. Malcolm Roach, though, he had the hit to wake up DKR. Let's see if the offense can get some points. And now for our turning point, brought to you by local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. Keith, it was a 13-7 Texas lead before the half. Bouchel to Warwick.
Just an outstanding pass. Fakes the slant, draws the safety up, and just drops it into the corner. Warwick's first career touchdown pass. That made the score 20-7 at that point, but that was right before the half when this ball game was very much in doubt.
3 Texas receivers with the first touchdown catches of their respective careers. And not just big for Ja'Cory Warwick and Gerard Hurd, but for the inside receivers as a whole. Kyle Porter gets a hole. It's to the 46. We're talking about those inside receivers.
Well, that's a spurt right here now.
Yeah. He's stout and sturdy with his running style. And they said, you know, Coach Strong said tackling this guy. He said tackling this guy during camp was a task because he's a little bit smaller than the other guys in terms of height. But he's just, you know, when he pulls his shirt off, they said this is the kind of guy that's like, whoa. He's running the football. So to see Kyle Porter and everything he did for traditional power here at Katy, up the road near Houston, you know this young man's a winner. You know he's going to come in prepared. I know last week he had a costly special teams penalty. We're talking about that. We've seen him off of that stat sheet today, and he's done well with the reps that they've been able to give him today. I don't think he's blown the stat sheet up, but he's really been able to, in 7 carries, 28 yards, averaging 4 yards a pop, and your first time of action. I'd say Mr. Porter is doing what these coaches expect him to do.
And no footballs on the field, protecting
Very
the
true,
rock.
Lowell. Very true.
I was talking about the inside receivers, though. There's a pretty good rivalry between the outside guys and the inside receivers like Warwick and Hurd. They kept getting the talk trash from the outside guys, saying that the inside receivers don't have legs after Warwick was brought down short of the end zone in overtime, and Hurd narrowly missed that touchdown off the toss from Shane Buechele. So they have a little bragging rights here with the performance over the outside guys, but there is Lil Jordan Humphrey
that
with
is
his first career catch.
And not to cut you off, that is the most interesting prospect in this class right here. When I look at this young man, he could play outside, he could play in the slot. And in high school for South Lake Carroll, he was a running back.
Yeah.
I mean, just a very talented prospect, and I look forward to seeing him develop here in the burnt orange jersey.
Warwick slipping a tackle. He's down at the 21. Brandon Moss bringing him down.
Playmakers on the outside. Ahmad, you mentioned it earlier in the broadcast.
Yep.
Back to the inside receiver, Ja'Cory Warwick breaking a tackle. And Warwick is proving slippery for the UTEP defense. But back to Little Jordan Humphrey. That's his real name, L-I-L apostrophe.
I love it.
Jordan. He's not little.
Oh,
and it says a lot about the expectations you talked about. He's wearing number 4. It's the University of Texas.
Indeed.
Pretty good number. Heard some coaches tell me Lil Jordan has the best hands on the team. Buechele the key. See that? There was a little option there on that play. He peeked at Gerard Hurd over on his right side. We talked about Lil Jordan Humphrey wearing number 4. The guys want the single digits.
Yeah.
And some lobbied for him, like Lil Jordan and Shane Buechele wearing number 7. And so the guys arrived at the Texas locker room before the start of the Notre Dame game, surprised to find single digits in the locker. Another open man, and no surprise, Gerard Hurd into the end zone for the second time. Smokey is getting a workout here in the second half.
It's also the second time we've seen that type of play design with what they call a double move. You saw the pump fake that really draws in the defenders. Watch Buechele here on this initial fake to his left. Boom, right there, that sets up the defenders and creates a pocket in the back of the end zone as Hurd was pretending to run that quick pass that they've run and slept right out into the back just like Ja'Cory Warwick did. They've scored twice on that play today.
Talk about giving up your ego for the better of the team. Gerard Hurd was a state champion 2 years in a row as a quarterback at Denton Guyer.
Texas football on Longhorn Network is brought to you by Coors Light. When it comes to ice-cold Coors Light, 21 means 21. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Solid performance on this Saturday night for the Texas Longhorns. 41-7 lead against UTEP. And we've seen through the first 2 weeks upsets aplenty by teams that had veterans coming back that we expected to be players even in the college football playoff. Upsets have happened. That helps put this performance from this young Texas team even in a greater perspective, because no letdown whatsoever after that win against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish that vaulted Texas all the way from unranked to number 11 in the AP top 25. Janelle from his goal line, chased down by Brandon Jones. The Horns are growing. Pay attention on the right side of the Bevo's Horns, because they will grow. We worked hard on this. Starting really with back-to-back top 10 recruiting classes. Malik Jefferson, he would be the bell cow. They had to get something going with the offense, and they did in the offseason. Whatever they're paying Sterling Gilbert, I can tell you, it's not enough. And 3 wins against the AP top 12 since the start of last season. Oklahoma, Baylor, Notre Dame. But again, to the point of following up, remember how Texas followed up against Oklahoma. They come out to get shut out against Iowa State. No letdown here.
I think that's a huge point in the growth of this football team.
Ryan Metz now in at quarterback for the UTEP Miners. Started 5 games as a freshman a year ago. More of a traditional drop-back pocket passer for this UTEP offense. And that's the style that they had in their season opener when Zach Greenlee, the Fresno State transfer, was playing quarterback.
It's 3 guys with their hand down in the dirt. Actually, it's been 8 guys in that rotation here tonight. They've done a nice job, Ahmad, of slowing down the run. Other than one big play, that's the difference in the game. It's the only opportunity UTEP's had is the 150-yard run.
Full start. Offense number 85. 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
Hayden Plinky, senior tight end with a false start. See on the left side of the Texas defensive line, another Herald freshman, Jordan Elliott, playing defensive end. To his right, Gerald Wilbon, the Texas freshman. Actually, that defensive line, all freshmen, and here's another one with Malcolm Roach with the tackle.
This defensive front has been really good. They've gotten pressure from their linebackers, plus the defensive front from the backside. Coming up with sacks, they just have not allowed UTEP to get into the flow of their offense all night long because of the pressure. And then to slow down this running game, as the Miners came in with one of the best running attacks in the country, this defensive front has controlled the line of scrimmage all night long.
6 true freshmen on the field right now for this Texas defense. All 3 defensive linemen, true freshmen, as well as 23 linebacker Jeffrey McCulloch. The tackle missed by Roach, and a huge 3rd down pickup as Walter Dawn is able to extend the drive for the UTEP Miners.
Yeah, Vance Bedford will use this as a coaching tool for these young guys. You see the frustration on his face right there. Perfect play call. You know, they had guys, they wanted to drop back, keep everything in front of them, move to the football, wrap up and tackle, and some of these young players, unfortunately, weren't able to do that.
Missed in space. Indeed. True freshman defensive line from left to right, Christmas, Wilbon, and Elliott. Metz to his left. Flag on the play. Chris Boyd forced Walter Dawn out of bounds.
This could be a chop block on the outside.
Yeah, that's what it appeared.
One of the things that's got to be cleaned up. We've seen an awful lot of penalties.
Indeed.
Personal foul, illegal crackback block, offense number 9. 15-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Just comes out here on the edges.
It's very noticeable when it's out there too.
Yeah, it's not a lot of traffic.
Nope.
The Texas fans have to be loving this drive right here. I mean, there's so many fans of programs all around America who get so hyped about recruiting, National Signing Day, and they want to see those true freshmen quick. And we are seeing a lion's share of the standout true freshmen that made up this top 10 recruiting class for Texas on the field right now. There's one of them, Brandon Jones, with the pressure. He got to Metz and forced the incompletion.
Yeah, what stands out when you watch this kid on film, he's just all around the football. And that time there, he even forced an early throw. He timed this blitz magnificently. As he comes through, it was just a great effort. And the quarterback there, Metz, recognizing it, trying to get it down to his check down. But this young man, like I said, when you turn on film, he's like the Tasmanian devil. You know, he's just all over the football field and trying to bury ball carrier's face in the dirt.
2nd and 24. Good luck. And more movement. The guys talking about the talent level on this team.
Full start, offense number 67. 5-yard penalty at second down.
First conversation I had with Coach Strong, preseason practice, he tells me, we look like a football team. We got to figure out if we can play now. And I think they did that against Notre Dame. But following that, I saw more NFL scouts in this preseason camp than I have in any of the previous 5 preseason camps I've been around here at the University of Texas. Some good-looking prospects on the hoof here for Charlie Strong. So Texas entered this game, number 11 in the AP top 25. Is there room for them to climb? You could make the case, even without a loss. Georgia, right there.
Yeah, I think it's enough. I think it's enough to bump Texas into the top 10, especially in the AP poll. I know the coaches see this a little bit different, but as far as I'm concerned, today they started off slow. They came back, they made some adjustments in the second half, and here they maintained the point total for UTEP. Defense came out here with a shutout in the second half, and the offense has been able to score.
Roach with the pressure. Tyrone Nelson.
I'm not sure that they will move up anymore after this game. Go on the road next week and find a way to win a ball game.
It's a big game.
I think at that point you'll start thinking a top 10 football team.
Late kick at Cal, a team that has the top senior draft prospect at the quarterback spot, according to Mel Kiper. Former Texas Tech quarterback Davis Webb. We'll get into that matchup with the Cal Golden Bears in a moment. Texas defense, with all those freshmen out there, holds to force the punt. A line drive work, an opportunity to return.
Number 11, Ja'Cory Warwick on the return.
Step out of bounds, shy of that 40-yard line. We'll take a break, and when we return, we look ahead to the Texas schedule. Texas about to go into their toughest stretch of the season. And if they can get past these next 3 opponents, the sky's the limit. They got Cal on the road, at Oklahoma State, and against Oklahoma and Dallas. A little shocked that we're talking already about the Sooners and the Pokes, both with losses at this point in time. Baylor, and then November 25th against TCU, who's in a battle right now against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Tyrone swoops in at quarterback.
As you look at Cal, I think that's the first one. It's the first time we've talked an awful lot about, and Lord, you have too, about the young kids that are out playing in this game and how many young kids are involved playing. Well, this is the first time they've gone on the road away from the home crowd. It's a lot different. Ahmad, you could walk us through it. That first time you go out, put that Stormtrooper uniform on, it's a lot different.
Yeah, but it adds to the excitement. And the one thing that you have to do is, I know we used to take that as a challenge when I played here at the University of Texas, particularly our 2001 team that had an opportunity to win a national title. We took it as a challenge. It's us against the world. And, you know, the best teams, when you've got great chemistry like that, the players don't run from that. They embrace it. And so I know this is a young team, and this is where you'll need your senior leadership to really show them what to do on the road. Surroundings are different. The travel's different. You're sleeping in a new bed. Everything. Your
kick.
Everything is different. So I think it's an opportunity for this Texas team to really gauge where they're at in terms of their chemistry and camaraderie with one another.
Back-to-back carries for Tristan Houston. Swoop showing off the arm. Chris. Devin Duvernay. Bringing it down with the flag. And will this be the first catch for distance for Devin Duvernay? Good adjustment to that football.
Don't see that very often. Didn't see a push off to get separation. Right,
not at the end of the play.
Not at the end of the play. Now, it could have been earlier in the play.
But I think what you clearly see there is his breakaway speed.
Yes.
I mean, this kid's top end speed, maybe the best on the team.
Separation.
And when he is in that slot, he and Hurd, and you've got Bird on the outside to stretch the field, it puts that middle field safety in some quicksand. I mean, it's almost impossible.
You can't get to the numbers.
And it's you can't guess wrong. If you guess wrong, you're already out of the play. So team speed for Texas that I know something that was surprising to Brian Kelly early this week on Sunday, but I guarantee you UTEP is also feeling the pain of that speed.
On to Tristan Houston for his third carry. You see the fellow in number 44. That's Quincy Vassar. He was getting his first playing time since moving from defensive line over to tight end for this Texas offense. Caleb Blewett has not played in this game because of injury. Andrew Beck handling most of the tight end duty. But you know you're deep and you're loaded when Devin Duvernay is coming out in the final 3 minutes of a blowout game against UTEP.
Yeah.
A guy that could be playing major minutes right now for a lot of teams in college football. 2:47 left to play. Another stellar punt from Ahmad's season MVP, Michael Dixon.
Yeah, the freshman from Arlington, Texas, putting on another show here tonight. The quick throwing motion, he's a timing thrower, and the ball placement, the weight of the pass. There on another double move. They came back to this play a little bit later to score on it from Hurd. Here showing off his ability to get the ball downfield and put it in the perfect location. Once again, they come back to it. Bouchel lighting up the scoreboard. 4 touchdowns tonight, and he's had another magnificent performance.
He's a true freshman.
It's unbelievable to think. Wow.
FBS teams over the past 4 years that have played primarily a true freshman at quarterback are 51-50. True freshmen are not supposed to play the game like Shane Bouchel is playing through his first 2 games here for the University of Texas.
Well, it's not about that. It's the stories you hear about him off the field. You know, the coaches say if you show up at the field house, he's going to be with a different teammate almost on every different day. Yeah. You know, it's the fact that he's matriculated his way amongst the whole team as a freshman. It's just been amazing to watch this young man develop and grow right before our eyes.
And the way he looked on the sideline, that shot we just showed, ho-hum, that's what the teammates said he looked like.
You're right. Look at that.
During the Notre Dame game. There's just no phasing him. He's always relaxed, laid back, whether he's playing and whooping up on everybody at ping pong over at Moncrief in the Texas football office, the Players Lounge, or if he's battling the number 10 team in the nation, or watching his guys extend a 41-7 lead against UTEP. Big time. But he's been used to the big stage. His dad, Steve Bouchel, longtime Ranger standout.
Offense number 88, 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Shane's also a talented baseball player, a shortstop. And Keith, we saw some of those soft hands from the shortstop against Notre Dame, scooping up some of those fumbles or those snaps that weren't quite on target.
Well, some of his deliveries at times are a little bit sidearm as well. You can tell that he's got a little bit of that background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, turning 2, huh?
Got to get rid of it quickly.
Indeed.
Not the biggest dude, but neither was Colt McCoy.
You know, and to your point, I think, you know, some of the best players that I played with here, it wasn't about their stature. It was about what was on the inside of those rib cages.
Yeah.
And I love his competitive spirit and nature. And this entire team, I believe, has taken on the personality of not only Bouchel, but Sterling Gilbert may be the single most important person who wasn't on this sideline last year. His comfortability with the offense, his ability to train and develop young quarterbacks. I mean, you're seeing it right now that hire is really paying off for the Texas Longhorns.
And he's just a guy with an edge. He walks around like he knows he's good, because he does. And it's rubbed off on the defense as well.
Couldn't agree more.
Kevin McCarl told us that Gilbert has impacted the Texas defense as well. The word in terms swagger, way overused these days.
And he
but if you're going to use it on Sterling Gilbert, because he's got it.
He told me it was more edge than swagger, according to Sterling Gilbert.
That's a good word.
Well, stay tuned after the game for Texas Game Day Final. Alex Loeb holding it down. Ricky Williams, Emmanuel Acho, and Vince Young. We got to talk about this. We have a lot of fun with our game day guarantees. All right, the bold prediction for Vince Young was that Texas would have 5 sacks in the game. Texas pretty much average. I see you, Vince. That's not a bold prediction.
Hey, you want cheese with that wine?
They pretty much average 5 sacks per game.
You want cheese with that wine? Come on, big guy.
We're going for the standings here. I got shut out in week number 1. And VY's in the lead. I'm going to watch out for this. I'm pretty sure, though, I got the game day guarantee for most touchdowns responsible for with Shane Buechele. Buechele takes the knee. He's got 4 of them. Did I get that one, VY? Did I get Buechele? No? Ricky got it? That's weak. That is weak. So Texas moves to 2-0 for the first time since 2012. Was not the cleanest game, but it goes down as a W. But there were plenty of bright spots to get you past some of those sloppy, sluggish moments. Like that man, Shane Buechele. The field position, the job of Michael Dixon at punter, and the Texas defense as well. UTEP had to avoid 3 and outs, and they had probably more 3 and outs than they didn't, courtesy of that Texas defense. Let's catch up with Don Davenport, who's with Gerard Hurd.
That's right. I'm actually with the birthday boy, huh? Pretty good night. 2 touchdowns for you on your birthday. What was key in that?
Really nothing. I just have to play my game and execute what Coach had for me. So, you know, it did turn out a good birthday night, and, you know, I'm proud, and it was a good team win.
Shane Buechele, another outstanding performance. It's a position, you know how difficult it is. What impresses you the most about the young kid?
You know, his poise at such a young age, you know, for him, I tell him every time, you know, you're doing, you know, the above and beyond. So, you know, I'm proud of him, and he works hard, and so, you know, and it shows on the field.
Congratulations and happy birthday, Gerard.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
It's a great way to celebrate a birthday right there. Gerard Hurd getting into the end zone for the first time as a Texas receiver. Keith, Ahmad, Don, that was a blast.
It was fun.
It was fun. Hanging out, talking Texas football. Horns are up for the Eyes of Texas. After the singing is done, time for Texas Game Day Final.
Texas Game Day final. Shane Buechele, what it was 4 touchdown passes and a 41-7 Texas win. The Longhorns start a season 2-0 for the first time since 2012 with, again, the 41-7 victory over